Welcome back to the kick-off. Hello, lads. How are you doing? All right?
Yep.
Good. We've just watched Newcastle draw 2-2 away to West Ham.
Way!
This is not the best. I thought we'd gotten out of jail a little bit because of the fact that we went 1-0 down, and we didn't. You could see there was a hangover from the Champions League. And then we watched Brighton draw 2-2 as well against Liverpool. Yeah. I mean, if you're in a title race, it must feel like a positive.
Wow.
We wouldn't know about that, would we, KJ?
No, I don't think about that.
But yeah, what do we make of those results, lads? I mean, Brighton coming back was impressive. I think they really needed that mentally. They've been on the ropes a bit lately. They had a great start, and then they got a few bad results. And Liverpool are like one of the worst teams to play right now. So
I think Liverpool, their scary side. I put them down to finish like second. I still now, if Man City are messing around, they're a team that really could win the league. I know, like, people probably not sure about it, but Liverpool they got the experience of driving, pushing them the furthest, and I think they're probably primed to go for it this time. So they got a good squad. It was a decent game, Points shared makes sense, but I still think that they're like the dark horse to win the league.
We're saying that they're in the title race though. Brighton are only 1 point behind them. So are Brighton in the title race?
Oh, it's hard to. Nah. It's like the Leicester thing when you just didn't want to accept it until it got late. Even when it was like, still Leicester was like, yeah, let's wait till Christmas. Let's wait till the end of Jan. It's going to be hard to accept Brighton are in the title race.
The Liverpool thing, the Mo Salah factor for me is massive. Like today, you've seen how important he was, and also the thing I'm thinking about is he won't be there next season. Mm-hmm. I mean, personally, I don't believe that. I think Saudi are going to go all out by the summer. So if you're Jurgen Klopp, you're thinking, I've got one last big push before I really need to reinvent again. And I need to find all of these goals and assists from another player. So I think they're going for a big time this season.
I know nothing's set in stone this early on in the season, but are we not looking at how Man City have just ran away with it last couple of years, how good they've been, the amount of points they've accumulated, and we're looking at it and going, well, Liverpool have now dropped points against Chelsea, they've dropped points today against Brighton, dropped points obviously against Spurs.
That was a robbery.
Could come a point pretty soon though where you're like, do you know what? When the season kicks in and Man City start going through the gears, the damage might have been done in the early part of the season for a few of these teams already.
Yeah, but you say that if they lose today, if they lose against Arsenal today, then it's wide open, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you're right. If you're trying to go for the league, you look at those old Liverpool teams on the clock, the ones that was winning the league, the Champions League. They're kind of head-to-head against the other big teams in the league. They would take points from those teams. Whereas, like, losing against Spurs, obviously, was a controversial one. Dropping 2 points against Brighton. Chelsea, like you said, these are games they kind of need to minimum be drawing or winning. Yeah, against these teams. If you want to win the league, with this Man City team.
What about Spurs, though? Because just coming into the form that they're on, and I know Craig loves to play it down, right?
Yeah.
But they've even started getting onto this. I've seen this on Match of the Day. If you look at the amount of points accrued by Spurs up till now,
incredible.
History tells us to have 20-plus points after 8 games at this point in the season. In terms of 28 teams have done it, 11 of those have been champions. 26 of those have been top 4, and only 2 have finished outside of the top 4. So statistically, Spurs, if they don't get top 4 from this point onwards, it will be a bit of a failure compared to what's been happening.
Whoa, wow.
Craig,
is this what we're doing?
Craig,
wow.
You did say that if we beat Liverpool, you're going to become a believer. You did. We was here, like me and you was arguing.
No, I swear you asked me before the Arsenal game. You said Arsenal away, and then I said if we beat Arsenal away, we'd be title. We can go for that. That's what I said. Not Liverpool. I said Arsenal away.
So just to be clear, out of 28 teams, only 2 who've got the same points Spurs have now at this point in the season have not got top 4.
No, but
they have to do it.
Do you know what I don't like?
I accept that.
Because this is where that bottle rhetoric starts coming in.
No, they have to do
how can you bottle top 4 when it's it's October now. When it's just the beginning of October, that's crazy.
You can't argue with those stats, though.
Yeah,
I can't argue those stats.
28 out of 28, 26
all right.
have got top 4.
But how many of those teams, let's do context, how many of those teams had a manager in their first season?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. How many teams had a manager in there? But this is his first
Sometimes
season.
first season.
This was supposed to be
a showing us. It's pretty good.
No, but this is a transitional season on paper. That's how it's supposed to be. He's come in, we've lost our best player, one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in the world. We've lost him. He's come in. and it was a shipwreck last season with
Did you have
Conte.
a good start under Conte as well, though? It was a strong start, right?
Yeah, but remember, he got the second half of his first season. So the second half of the last season, if that makes sense. And then, we started strong. But this is literally his first season. Like, he didn't have last season to do it and get things right. This is his first season. I'm just saying, I don't think we'll be title contender because, one, I don't think we have the squad. Two, any injury to key players like Son, Maddison, even Basuma, we're in trouble. Even the defenders, like if Romero or Van der Ven gets injured, automatically it's Dyer or someone else coming in that isn't good enough.
I watched the highlights against Luton, and there was room for improvement. There was some real chances that Luton had that you think a normal level team in the Premier League would have at least got a draw, if not beaten you. There was some open goals missed by Adebayo. He really needs to sort his game out, bless him.
But we could have been 3-0 up in the first 10 minutes.
That's true. And when you look at the reliance on Maddison, I see why you're being cautious. Like, Maddison, you really need to keep him fit.
He's a quality player.
I'm watching Tonali, and I'm just thinking, we paid more money for Tonali than for Maddison. What? I'm not against Tonali, but just Maddison is such a good player.
Yeah, he's quality.
It's just insane, man.
It's shocking that there wasn't a big lot of teams.
This goes back to the narrative about English players and about like if his name was fancier and he was from the continent, we wouldn't have got it would have been a fight for him. Yeah. Instead of being like, oh, Maddison.
Do you think it's the club he was coming from as well, though? Coming from Leicester, obviously he wasn't part of the title winning side, and as well, I don't think anyone can deny that there was a perception, I'm not saying it was true, but there was a perception that he had maybe down tools a little bit in that last little part of his reign at Leicester. Now, that being said, the numbers would probably contradict that, because actually numbers would say that he scored some important goals for them and he was one of their better performing players. But I think there was a few players in that side, Tielemans, Maddison, maybe one or two others, that there was that perception of, they've down tools a little bit. And then maybe the character of the player is called into question ever so slightly. And actually, it's like anything in life. Just needed a new opportunity.
And he's got better players around him now.
Exactly.
There's better quality around him
too.
All I'll say on this title thing with Spurs is because we're
11 out of 28.
It's not even Halloween. It's not even Halloween. Scary hours. It's not even Halloween. If we're at Christmas, after Christmas, that little period between Christmas and Christmas and New Year's, we're still in and about the top three and points-wise there, then we can have that conversation. It's October.
You're definitely in the top four.
Is Champions League what you're expecting then? Because
I think so. I'm looking at it but then this is the thing. This ain't a normal season. There's so many teams in contention for the Champions League.
Do you know what, though? When you look at the heavy legs, you look at what Liverpool did with Brighton today, Newcastle with West Ham, that's sort of your competition, and we're dropping points. And Newcastle looked way off it. The level difference today.
That's not fair. You had an interesting week.
No. I thought we'd lose. I'm actually
For you, it's almost a point.
Genuinely, I was like, I think we're going to lose today because emotionally, physically, we gave so much to beat PSG and you could see it was flat. The fact that we got 2 goals, I was like, thank God for Isak, because I didn't see that coming there. And that is how tight it's going to be. And I guess we're going to learn a lot from this game today, Super Sunday. Arsenal.
I can't wait. I'm here to watch Arsenal lose. And I know this sounds crazy. People are like, bruv, what's going on, man? You support Man United. These are your biggest rivals. Nope. Arsenal are the rivals for me. I will hate them as long as life. As long as
you don't know any City fans.
I don't know them, bro.
He wants it etched in his gravestone.
I can't stand these lot. I'm here for them to lose big loss as well. I want them to hate their that international break. 2 weeks of pain, bro. That's what I'm looking for.
I can't see it though.
What?
I can't see it. Not a big loss. I think at
How
the Emirates,
good would it be, though?
I think at the Emirates they're going to raise their game, and they haven't won against City in ages. I think they're due. They're due something against them.
That midfield is an interesting one for City. Kovacic and Lewis. It's not the years gone by strength, is it?
Are we afraid of City this season? Well, I can't talk. I'm going to ruin myself. But I'm just saying, I
was going to say, would you not be more worried about them if you were up there in the title?
I'm terrified. They're coming to play us in a few.
I'm not as scared as what we when they played Newcastle earlier this season. I remember thinking, God, if we were even close to our normal levels, we'd give you a real game.
Yeah.
Because De Bruyne wasn't there. And Haaland, as much as Haaland is still scoring goals, I don't know what it is, but he hasn't quite found his, in-game player performance here. Like in terms of he's not affecting the game as much as what he did, other than the goals. The goals are still there.
Yeah.
So anyway, just talking about the players that are going to be the key men today: Odegaard, Declan Rice, Jorginho starts ahead of Havertz. I feel like that's a massive sign of Arteta in admitting in a big important game, you're on the bench. Like that says it all, right?
That's a strength, is it not? Like I actually think that's a strength as a manager, being able to fall on your sword. So many managers, especially when we would sort of think that maybe they've had a very pivotal part of bringing a player in. So many managers will blindly back that player and say no. You know, we saw it with Ten Hag a lot with Anthony. Obviously, he's going to be coming back into the side soon, and there's a lot of people, including some Man United fans, that would say maybe he's not as deserving of other players that maybe Ten Hag hasn't sanctioned the move for. And I actually think that part of being adaptable as a manager and part of being able to go, right, you know, I don't know everything and I am learning, but that's something that can elevate my performance a little bit, is being able to go, right, maybe I'm going to take you out for this game. But, in terms of replacing him with Jorginho, it's not like you're swapping him for someone who's going to do anything too different. One of the things I say about Havertz is he's too nonchalant on the ball and sometimes the judgment ain't great, and I could probably level a lot of those criticisms at Jorginho as well. Neither are probably going to score you
More
goals.
defensive-minded, Jorginho?
Jorginho might fit a midfield three a little bit better than having Havertz in there.
Well, this is the thing. I think a lot of Arsenal fans before the game were calling for a double pivot in that midfield, and I think they've got that today. I think the interesting one is obviously that Partey's on the bench and he's gone for Jorginho over Partey. So there must be something to do with an injury.
Maybe because he's missed games.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit frustrated. Like even though obviously I hate Arsenal, North London rivalry and whatnot, I'm just frustrated as a football fan that we're missing these two teams who were battling it out last season with full strength squads. Like City's missing De Bruyne, Rodri, Arsenal ain't got Martinelli, Saka. Like these are like the big game players.
But this is where you determine champions, though, isn't it? Like you've got to have a squad. Like we've seen it week in, week out. This is why we're questioning like Newcastle squad when we're looking at Spurs' squad. Like the teams that win the titles are the ones that have the deeper squads. And so I'm not mad about it. You're going to have play like that. You're going to have injuries.
Point of view. Yeah, I just want to see the best players battling it out.
I don't care about the spectacle. Wow. I want to see a beatdown.
One thing is that omens for Arsenal are not good in this game. Like, have you looked at how long it's been since they beat City in the last time Arsenal beat City in the league? They had Flamini playing in midfield. They had a start. I promise you, last time they beat him in the Premier League, they had Flamini playing in the midfield. Right? They had, I think, their starting 11. I think 7 of them are now retired, and the ones that are still playing, trust me, they're not playing at any sort of level that anyone here would recognise. I mean, Aaron Ramsey playing in the Championship, but that's about
Nicholas
it. Like,
what do we make of the front three for Arsenal? Nketiah, Jesus, and Trossard.
They're good players, though. Do you even, as much as I hate these lot, like you say what you want, Trossard's a good signing. He's come to Arsenal. He doesn't look like he's missed a beat. Looks comfortable there.
So direct, isn't he?
Yeah,
I really like him as a threat.
Gabriel Jesus is surprised. Well, he hasn't really surprised me, but he just needed to be somewhere else where he could be the man as well. Eddie Nketiah, as much as you want to cuss him, somehow he just he turns up with a goal. You know, he's got pace. So it's a quick team. So
yeah, but then look at City.
Yeah,
Bernardo, Alvarez.
And
Foden, Haaland.
Foden real quick, because you and I, we've had a lot of chats about him earlier this season about like his coming of age season. Like obviously we've all rated him. He's a great player. He's one of the most talented English footballers we've seen in years. Up there with the best. But we haven't seen him own the Premier League quite the way Bellingham is for La Liga right now, for example. These are the kind of games where you want him to really stand up and go, no De Bruyne, no problem. I'm your guy and I can be that guy. Do we think that'll happen for him today?
I think it always turns to silver, innit? I don't think it's Foden's like surprisingly. I like how he plays, but it's still we're still waiting. And it sounds crazy because he's won the treble. Like he's part of that. So we shouldn't have any question marks over him, but he does need to show up in a game like this. But then I wanted to go back to the thing that you lot mentioned about him dropping what's that player, Havertz. Well, we talked about him dropping the goalkeeper.
Yep.
He bought Ramsdale. I don't think Ramsdale's his signing, right?
I think it is.
Yeah, Ramsdale's his guy, and then he's Raya, and it's Raya only right now. That's the way it's going.
We predicted that as well. Like we said, it's one of the we're playing rotation. Ain't no rotation.
He also Raya the other day against Lens, he made a mistake. He did a poor pass that then resulted in them conceding a goal. So a lot of Arsenal fans are now going like, I would like to see, they call him Rambo. I'd like to see Rambo come back into the team. So there's more pressure than ever on Arteta
and if you're
to make the right
decision.
decision.
It's against Man City.
The difference in that one, in my opinion, is that Ramsdale, all right, maybe one or two very, very minute things. If you're shining the magnifying glass on, you could say he got that wrong or whatever. But Ramsdale hadn't really done anything, in my opinion, massive, consistently to deserve of being dropped. Havertz obviously has, and it's happened way sooner. Like, Ramsdale was the man last season for Arsenal, you know what I mean? He kept him in a lot of games, saved them a lot more points than he lost them, do you know what I mean? So Havertz is one that he's had to adapt a lot quicker. I think it's a bigger call to drop Havertz almost in a way, because it's like you've just brought him in. You brought him in for silly money, to be honest.
65 million.
I know Chelsea spent silly
by
money on him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you brought him in for a lot of money, and in your biggest game of the season so far, he's not starting.
And not only could he be playing in midfield, a lot of people were saying he could have started up front today for Arsenal. So again, like, he's not getting in any of the positions. A lot of the Arsenal fans, mate, were shouting for him to start up top today. So it just shows you.
This sort of brings us on to the dropping of goalkeepers. We're going to get this one out the way quickly for our boy. We were speculating, and we officially placed Onana on fraud watch earlier this season.
Yes.
What we saying, Craig? Is it fraud confirmed yet?
I think it's too early to say confirmed, but he's edging towards it.
Oh, yeah.
He's edging towards it. Some of the mistakes he's making are horrendous. Like, at this level, for this caliber of club, you know why you was brought in. You know what the howlers David De Gea was having towards the end of his career at Manchester United. This was the opportunity for him to step up and kind of solidify that backline, which even now with all the injuries, Martinez out, all of these players there, like, we're looking at a team with like Johnny Evans in there, Harry Maguire, Lindelof, like, it's insane. And then you're supposed to be that calm person in between the sticks that kind of brings it all together. And the howlers he's making are just
Do you know what it reminds me of? Remember Fabian Barthez? Where immediately we're like, what the fuck are we in for here? And because the poor guy, like, he seems like a really nice guy. Like,
lovely.
I'm not actually like reveling in. Like, there was a moment where, and this is a lot for me as a Man United hater, right? Yeah. I'm like, I feel sorry for this geezer because he's got cheese strings for fingers. He's rubbing Lurpak on his finger, like his feet. Like, what's going on here? It's not good.
It's expensive as well.
Poor guy, Lurpak on his gloves. So.
That was good.
He was brought in to kick the ball out and actually and play out.
Distribution.
And even the distribution's not being
done. Against
if anything, he's route one-ing it, and it's often just he's handing it back to them. So what's the feelings like about Onana in the fan base?
We're terrified. We feel like we made a mistake. We're now it's get to the point where we're like, De Gea, should you just text him? Yeah, like the late night. You know that late night text to the missus. You up? Yeah.
Things weren't that bad. The memories get a bit hazier the longer you're away from her.
We gotta go back.
Yeah.
Honestly, because looking at this guy, is the Galatasaray one hurt as well. And remember, after that, you lot went and did a madness in the Champions League. We're supposed to get through this group. We're not supposed to be in the situation we're in, but then you can point to him, Bayern Munich. It was his fault. He came out. All the Man United fans said, great character. We love that. That's brilliant. To make a mistake the next game, you can't do that.
We can't have another apology video.
You can't apologize. Like, more apologies than saves. That's what we're saying with this guy. Like, it's getting to the point where we're trying to. And I was excited as an African. This is the first African goalkeeper ever played for Man United. Like, incredible. But then you can't take the liberties. Now we gotta say, listen, nationality aside,
It's irrelevant.
big man, what the hell's going on? Like, even Africans are like, what's going on? You know what I mean? We're concerned. We're concerned I think this guy just needs to. And I heard Peter Schmeichel's, and this is when great players talk about like other players that play their position, you should really like hearken and hear what they're saying. But he's saying he's doing things that he doesn't understand. The ball comes to him. Instead of just diving, he can't get down low. He jumps before he goes down low, which makes no sense. And I don't know if now, because he seems very confident the way he speaks and stuff, but you can tell that something's wrong because the kick-in is gone. And this guy's in the Champions League final.
That's what he was brought in for.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's hard. Like, for me, I'd pull him out of the team. And I know everyone's like, I would do it now and say, yeah.
And put who in?
Listen, I'd even put in Heaton. I'll put in Bayern there, never seen that guy play. But right now, it's like, I can't take a shot on goal and it's going in. We're playing Man City soon. Them lot, everyone will just shoot him from far.
You made a really good point there in terms of shots on target.
It's going in.
If you're playing Manchester United right now, you should be shooting from anywhere and everywhere.
Yep.
And
That's what they did yesterday.
Well, that's the mistake I think Brentford made in not capitalising on it enough, because although the shot that went in was piss poor and an easy save for any Premier League goalkeeper, it was an absolute howler. They didn't attack you enough, and I think that they let you off big time in that game.
No, I think they should. I think they were shooting from far because surprisingly, Evans and Maguire weren't really tested.
No.
We dealt with them from defensively. We were quite solid, but it's just if you're organised, the only way to beat Man United, be organised and shoot, be on target. You could score. Just organisation and shoot.
And not even like necessarily where it's been his mistake, but I would say 90% of the goals you've conceded this season, you could look at and go, you could have done better there. You could have done better there. Not every one is a mistake, but like, say, for example, the Crystal Palace one, yeah? I was looking at that and thinking, you should do better there. There's a lot of them where I'm thinking, you should, even Declan Rice's goal, I was thinking, you should probably do a little bit better there. Do you know? It's a deflection, but
the point
it wasn't a
is
shot with
David
loads of
was
pace
saying
on it.
that,
And
so right.
Olivier Giroud looked better in goal last night.
Yeah, I saw that. That was mad. That was actually mad.
Giroud looked better in goal.
What do you guys think of Ten Hag coming out? And obviously he's going to back his keeper. It's his signing. We know that. But he came out and said he could be the best keeper in the world.
He has to say that.
He doesn't have to say that.
He must have believed
No.
He must have.
He doesn't have to say that.
When he first paid that level of money, he must have thought, "This is my guy."
He has to say that.
And if we are going to look at Ten Hag signings just generally as well in with that,
Yeah.
the more players he signs, the more I question his talent ID, and the more I look at him and go, not necessarily his talent ID, as well as just confused by a lot of his signings, aside from Højlund, who looks absolutely class.
This is it.
But
Martinez was class. I think now it's just in a manager, you're gonna have to mistake signings, if that makes sense. Like, I still feel like Anthony, we'll see what happens with him, but Man United fans were calling for him to get back into the side. We were calling for him to get back inside. We could see with the right hand side still not solved. So we like right now in terms of where we had when we brought on players like when we brought on this player, it showed. But the key thing with Ten Hag's football, the system has to work and everyone has to join. Everyone has to play for it. And right now you got Bruno's off form, Rashford's off form, Casemiro's off form, and so's Onana. Yeah. You can't and these are supposed to be senior pro.
Okay, so let's slow it down a little bit, just because. The signings.
Yeah.
Mason Mount, you bought him. You're now playing him in Bruno Fernandez's position and forcing Bruno to play out wide.
Which is a mistake. So Ten Hag's got responsibility for that. Yep.
Casemiro, we're seeing a decline in him.
Wrong with him.
He's a Ten Hag signing as well.
Yeah.
That Amrabat hasn't hit the ground running.
He'll be good.
He's not that quick.
He'll be good.
So I'm a bit worried. We're also playing him at full back for some reason.
Left back,
Crack.
We
ain't got no players.
He's got no legs though.
No, but we ain't got nobody.
It showed that when you stop playing him at full back and put actual centre backs even there, they have a better understanding of defending. That was basic, right?
He's not absolved in any of these things.
Yeah, I think Man United fans are coming around to it where, look, maybe this is me being biased, but I'm genuinely looking at that Brentford game thinking, Brentford are shit this season.
So happy with
and they were so there for the taking, and yet you got them to within an inch of their life of getting out of there with 3 points by being so hopeless going forward. And that was the confusing thing for me, is like, Brentford are shit. Like, why are you not attacking them?
We're shit.
Yeah.
No, we're rubbish.
And if you look at the wins this season, Wolves, Forest, Burnley, Brentford,
Jesus.
None of them were good performances. Nottingham Forest, sorry.
We came back in that. Nottingham Forest one, we came back.
The Forest one, you played well in the second half, but to concede the way you did. But generally, you're looking at Man United thinking, you aren't performing well. And the thing is, with fans, I feel like we can support the manager, which Man United fans, actually give them credit, have done that. But you have to be seeing evidence, like you've said about Pochettino, of where is this going long term. Like
scary.
Nicking a win with McTominay, we'll all celebrate that. Every fan would celebrate a last minute winner.
Yeah.
But you can't ignore what you're saying.
No. The Man United fans, and I'm talking to a few of them, and some of them are now transferring into like the manager out thing. But then they, at the same time, Man United fans are finally waking up to the cycle that we've been on for years of get a manager, he plays well, we start making up lovely little songs for the manager, and then we lose him. And then after we have to rebuild again. And I think they're just now finally saying, we're not willing to do what we usually do. We have to stay the course. We made our bed, we're going to lie in this one.
I respect that, right? And backing your manager when they're not doing well is harder than, than wanting them out. But when we were talking about this the other day, and we were thinking about managers that Man United have had before Ten Hag, and we're looking at Moyes
LVG.
hasn't gone on to better things than Man United. Hasn't shown he's this great manager. He did all right with West Ham, but it's hardly the level.
Yeah.
Louis van Gaal hasn't gone on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Mourinho's been on a downward turn from that point onwards.
Yeah.
Won a European trophy though at Roma.
He's on the brink of getting sacked at Roma as well.
He won a European trophy.
Hey, it's
So
not the one that Man United want to win. It's not like
Nah.
none of these managers have achieved anything that Man United fans would consider to be success for their club. And same with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He has never.
He's not even
so when Man United
job.
fans say, and I hear this regularly online of, well, what are we supposed to do? There's no one better. I look at it and I go, you're using a sample of poor managers that have been appointed and saying there's no one better than Ten Hag. And
But
I look
we
at what
tried
Ten
different
Hag.
types, though.
Yeah.
So it's not about the level of the managers. We tried different styles of manager, and it hasn't worked. We tried the total football route. We tried the disciplinarian route. We tried the Ollie, everyone can have fun here route. We tried we literally tried
School teacher,
vibes.
Ragnick.
We done everything, and it's now it's like, well, we tried everything. I don't know what the manager that's out there now that we can say could do this, because I know the new name that everyone likes to throw around is De Zerbi. But I'm saying De Zerbi still takes big punishable defeats when they happen. What will we do in that position? He'll come to Man United and have the same issues. And when you have a fallout of a player, which De Zerbi does, it's gonna be it's gonna
Ten
be
Hag does
explosive
as well, by the way.
Yeah. But he ain't.
Going back to the Ten Hag thing though, I don't see the argument from Manchester United fans to go, he is doing the best possible and he is getting the most out of those players. And I think that there are 5 to 10 managers in the Premier League who are overperforming.
That could go to Manchester United and be okay.
Well, I don't think Ten Hag's being okay. I don't think he's
not done.
So the point I'm making is I just think that there's a lot of managers who are getting more out of their players than what they should do. And I look at Ten Hag and think, you're getting less out of this team than what you should do. Do you think that there's just whatever happens, we're backing them to the end of the season?
No, trust me, I'm seeing online, it's not in the terraces yet. Everyone's fully backing the manager, but you're hearing boos. You don't usually hear boos. They booed McTominay coming on. They booed him for well, that didn't work.
Man United fans tweeting out, that was for the haters, and it's like, you're the same account who was hating. What the hell is this about?
You know what I mean? So there's been boos and stuff, but I feel that he still has the fans. That's the one thing he has, and we kind of understand that the injuries that we do have, it is what it is. Hopefully, but if we lost yesterday, it could have been a nightmare. It could have, it was feeling like we're stepping towards an untenable. 6 in 10. We've lost 6 in 10 in all competitions. That's unheard of. And that was 7 and 11. Oh my goodness!
But the performance was a defeat. That's the point. Is McTominay saved the moment, but I can't unsee another game where Man United look clueless, out of ideas.
So you don't think it's
You don't
think it's a turning?
That's
point?
what I'm saying. It's unfortunate that the international breaks come now because you wanted another game.
I don't think it is a turning point though, and do you know why? I honestly believe. Obviously, it's not as simplistic as that, but I do believe, Scott McTominay. There's no coincidence in there. He done it for Fergie.
Yeah.
He done it for Fergie yesterday. Obviously, the news came out obviously about Fergie and his family and stuff, and he's Scottish as well.
Scottish.
He never scores a brace, especially a last minute one. You could see what it meant.
The Beckham documentary is so powerful. It's such a powerful PR documentary for Manchester United because of the way David Beckham represented Man United and the way he idolised the club. If you're Scott McTominay sitting at home looking at the wreckage of what once was, and you're looking at that club, he probably woke up feeling like, fuck me, I'm so much. And he went out there with a point to prove it. And like you say, for Cathy and all that, it was, even as just a football fan,
poetic.
It was fucking emotional. I respected that.
It's papering over cracks.
But it really is, mate. It's
papering
when
over
you're
cracks.
relying
on Scott McTominay to dig you out of trouble, that you know you got.
Well, we're relying on Maguire and Evans, so it's bad.
Do you know, no, but I don't think I think the way Varane and Martinez were defending before these two was no better.
But you could tell Martinez was had an injury. He was nursing something, and you clearly see now metatarsal. He rushed him back, and I think someone got fired at one of the medical people got fired at the club for that, because basically, like, you can't have this many players out injured, but you're not giving us full injury reports on these players, so we're bringing these players back in, and it's long term. They're out for too long.
Do you guys, do you and the lads have a feeling of where you're going to finish the season?
It's looking kind of 10th. It's looking
10th.
Yeah, look at us. It's we have to be real with ourselves.
To be fair, I think this is
we've got to get sacked. He has to get sacked end of the season.
It can only get better from here in terms of performance.
No, but it can get worse, because right now you're thinking we might fall out of the champion. Well, it's all likely to fall out of the Champions League. The next couple of games we got Man City pulling up, and if you look at our December schedule, it's disgusting.
That's the thing. You guys have had great fixtures. Like you got is it Burnley next or something like that?
Yeah.
Copenhagen. So I remember thinking Brentford,
Chelsea.
Burnley, Copenhagen. You got to win every one of those, otherwise he's fucked.
But the thing is, there are no great fixtures in the Premier League, man. I'm clocking it. No, I'm clocking this season. Like, this season is weird. Every game, if you're not on it, every single game, you will drop points. Man City proved that against Wolves. Against Luton yesterday, I'm not going to lie, we went, that's 10 men. We were lucky to get out of there with a point. Like, it can happen on any day. That team might just show up against you. There's every team, even the smaller teams, maybe not Luton then, but the majority of the teams have got good players now. Do you know what I'm saying? I think the only person, back to the Man United game though, the only person that was more upset than me yesterday that you won that game was Jadon Sancho. I know he was fuming. He smashed his PS5 controller as soon as he stuck that away, because he was thinking that's one game close for Ten Hag getting.
Can I give you December? Out. Can I give you December? Like this run that we got, in December, Newcastle, 2nd December. Next game, Chelsea, 6th of December. Bournemouth, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, West Ham. It's not nice. These are not fun fixtures.
Crazy.
These are not. And then we got it's not nice.
I'm looking forward to it.
Joey mentioned like start the season, Ten Hag's odds to get sacked were like fucking ridiculous.
250 to 1. I think he's down to about 12 to 1 now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You got all the odds over there, Joey.
The game's kicked off, by the way. Shout out everyone watching. If you can hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, lads. Quick predictions. What we saying?
I would go with a Man City win, just because I think law of averages. You don't get Man City losing back-to-back games in the league all that often, do you? So I would go, I'd probably go 1-0 Man City win this.
Ooh, tight one.
What are you saying?
I'm going to go with a 3-0 Man City.
You don't think Arsenal will score at home?
I don't want him to.
Okay. Third week in a row, I'm going 2-2. So Desmond, again, I just think there's going to be goals. And I want to draw as well. So.
I want a beat down.
I'm gonna go 3-1 to Man City.
Yeah,
I think that Arsenal are not potent enough up top, and I just think that Man City are going to dominate the midfield.
I feel like losing Saka and having Jorginho in the centre midfield just doesn't fill me with them.
Do you not think though, with Man City, like when you see star names out, it doesn't have the same sort of impact that it does when you see an Arsenal or when you see Liverpool having well-oiled machine. Just
they're literally the Barcelona of the modern era.
Yeah.
Like the weight of the club carries a name, right?
Do you know what though? This is the weakest middle two pairing. If you look at the double pivot for Man City, this is the weakest midfield I think I've seen in 3 or 4 years minimum.
Yeah.
It is, but it's also
Kovacic and Lewis.
It is, but it's also two players that know, because of the strength of the bodies they've got in front of them in terms of the players that are going to come back from injury. They know that they're not getting that many first team opportunities.
Whoa!
That's a yellow.
I think that looked worse than what it was, you know.
So this early on could be their chance to put a stake in the ground and say, look, I'm deserved of first team opportunities. So they could be looking at this match like it's a must perform
Calvin
game.
Phillips just sat there just like.
Well, this is interesting. Bernardo Silva is the deepest out of the midfielders here. They've got 3 midfield. Bernardo Silva is taking up a central position, very deep. So we were expecting him to play on the right hand side probably. So that's a very interesting tactical thing he's done straight away.
Calvin Phillips there. How long do you reckon it took Pep to just look at him in training and think, I'm not having him. I'm not having him.
It's starting to feel like that.
Because he's not, like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever you say, you brought him in for 45 million or whatever, right? And you look at the names that are starting in front of him, you know, even the fact that John Stones did brilliant there, by the way, but like John Stones is playing in midfield at times last season. He is just not getting a look-in.
I thought he was
Under
overrated
Pep.
anyway, I'll be honest, and that sounds controversial to say, but like
wasn't
he was playing.
overrated.
No, he was playing good for England. He was playing good for England. We know that, but look at Leeds, I didn't get the hype. I thought he was a good player, but to step up and come into Man City's midfield, come
Dude,
on, we're
he's
talking
got-
about the best team in the world.
He's got 2 starts
Raya,
in 17
poor
months.
distribution.
Yeah,
from
he's
him.
overrated. Man.
2 starts in 17
That was
months.
to meet the English quota. Let's be real.
I don't think he's better than
Yeah.
Billy Gilmore.
Yeah, he literally got a pity medal for the Premier League title.
yeah.
Can you imagine that? It's one thing to be like, Premier League medal, just...
Yeah.
No, but then people go, oh, how many games you start? Like, you can't even talk about
What
it.
a
You might
start.
as well have not have been there.
Like, how much better is Rodri than Calvin Phillips? Like, let's be real.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Rodri might be the best player in the world in that
I was
position
going to
right
say,
now.
how are you comparing the two? I
Because
thought
they're vying for that position in
yeah,
Man
it's
City's
not-
midfield.
There's no
They're
way,
not
man.
That's supposed to be the
That-
cover.
It's not
Fight's the wrong word.
All right.
Fight's the
It's
wrong
supposed
word.
to be his cover, and he's not even covering
He's a
anymore.
fucking
Kovacic just
cheerleader.
come in.
You know when he got his medal, it's like when my granda got a medal off the Queen. She didn't even know he existed.
swatting flies.
Pep's like, yeah, you can have
I'd
one.
still show it off though.
Fine.
I'm shameless like that.
Go on! Oh, off the line.
Declan Rice.
Off the
Declan
line.
Rice off the
Tell you
line.
what, Man City
Alvarez
should have
scored
scored.
a lot of goals.
Oh,
they're
it's in again.
Go.
Oh!
Okay,
Should be great flick on
Okay,
by
we
won
Erling
nil.
Haaland, by
With
the
an
way.
easy
1-0.
miss. Easy.
Okay,
be
I've got
1-0.
you in my team.
Should be
bro.
1-0.
Come on.
I'm so glad this isn't
Who's
going
at fault
like
here?
for Declan.
Oh, Odegaard couldn't quite
But
block it.
Raya's also diving in the middle of nowhere there as well. wasn't
Raya does a missed kick as well.
He's got to score that.
Yeah.
He's got to score that. Is that a foul though?
Arsenal are fucking all over the shop at the back there. Big time.
Vardio.
Odegaard's got his hands all over
Odegaard had his
there.
hands
Oh,
all
that's,
over.
good. That's a really good defending right there.
What, from Rice?
It's like something you see outside a nightclub at 3 in the morning.
He's got to score this.
he? He scuffed it completely. Got under it, didn't he? He completely got under it.
We'll
Oh,
let
they're in.
off. He's a centre.
Yeah, they're in here.
Not everyone's Fabian Shaw. All right.
We'll never live that one down.
Everyone's
He
talk-
slipped as well. We didn't even mean to do it.
Everyone's talking about Saka and Martinelli. Obviously, they're big players, yeah. But for me, the biggest player who I'm not going to say I want someone to get injured. That's not nice. But Odegaard, for me, is like the most important player for Arsenal, man. Like, he really is their captain. For me, he just drives everything about them. He's so passionate. He's so techie.
So do you want him to get injured though?
No,
You're wishing him luck. You hope he breaks a leg.
Nah, I don't want him to break a leg. No, just like a,
No,
a
in a
hamstring.
good luck way. In a good luck way.
A
Break a leg.
hamstring, 6
I don't know if
weeks.
you've seen, without getting too political, Zinchenko's getting a bit of flack on Twitter for
It's mental
posting.
that he's starting with how they acted with Ozil and all this other
Yeah.
stuff that's
Well,
happened.
What happened? I'm not seeing-
Obviously, there's a war starting, and he posted support for one of the
Support for
sides.
one of
Who? Wait, who?
Yeah. Zinchenko, I think, was his supporting Israeli.
I don't know how many times I've got to say it. Players and social media. Like,
Yeah. He's
look,
gone private
A
now,
lot
so
of these
it's all
boys,
right.
a lot of these boys, and this is going to sound really arrogant, but they've been taken out of school at young ages and whatnot. They've been in academies. I had a mate that played for Fulham and whatever, and I know how early he was
Was he
taken out of
saying
education,
he's a moron?
and things like that. No, yeah.
You're
shit.
slagging him off. He's
No, but
watching
like,
this and
no,
going,
but like,
"What
what
the
I'm saying is, footballers and social media, like, they're probably not.
It's also
best
weird.
mix.
Like, why pick a side when you're not from either of those nations?
it's just-
It's kind
So I think it's linked to the Ukraine situation because of the support they get, and without
so he's gone very political.
It's got super political. It's just
It's
you
like,
know
we
when
don't
you
need
just
this from
miss
you,
that,
pal.
You just got to step back and
Yeah.
say it's not for me.
Yeah, he needs
If
to-
you
know
know
what I
that
mean?
your
He needs
opinion's
to
going to,
just
I mean,
shut
this is
up.
coming from me, but if your opinion's going to piss that many
Yeah.
people off, and you don't need to do it
Yeah.
to make money, then if I was a footballer, I'd have no social media, mate. Like, no fucking way.
You
board
would
are probably
I
thinking,
know
no.
you would.
Nah, mate.
But you know
See,
sometimes-
I live in the
He would be
countryside.
doing
No one would know I
Sancho.
existed.
He'd be doing
He's-
Sancho tweets.
but screaming.
Yeah.
He'd be pinning
Play
the
the
hell
old
out.
Twitch
Nah.
at 3 a.m. on the night of a game. Fuck them up.
We'd be playing for Newcastle, still slagging out.
He's
You
a
wait till I see him
headless
Monday.
chicken.
Swear down, mate. That'd be me, like,
I just want to say assist today for Almiron again. Tick done.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Quality.
one for the year.
Quality.
He's got. Do you know Almiron's got?
You giving up on Almiron?
No, but he's got 5 assists in 5 years, mate. Like, he's a winger. It's your fucking job. Like, do you know?
Didn't he score against PSG?
He
Bloody
scores
good.
such good goals, right? But it's like he's the weirdest footballer because on the one hand, he gives you moments where you're like, fucking diamond, you, like, I love you. But then he can also be the most frustrating player because you can see he doesn't engage his brain.
Yeah.
And part of what makes him good is like, he doesn't think in the pressure moment. So like, Papi Cisse was quite like this. Pressure's on everyone else. His brain is like, like he's not there. And that's why he scored against PSG, thank fuck. But yeah, I do get annoyed about him, bless him.
There we go.
But I don't
Holland's
need
in.
it.
Pressure on him.
Holland's in.
Oh, I mistimed it.
And he still let him get the ball.
Actually,
That was very good defending.
This battle's going to be really good, you know, because Saliba's, they're saying he's like the best defender, one of the best defenders in the league.
Yeah, whatever. Van der Ven's here now.
Going back to the Newcastle thing, actually, since we're on it, let me know for a start, what did you guys think of the PSG win? Because I'm obviously getting overexcited, and it's the first Champions League game we've seen in 20 years, and I do know the lads performed probably 200% above our, natural playing ability. But how did you rate the performance?
Newcastle turning up and putting in a shock in the Champions League at St James's Park was not something that surprised me. I said it long before a ball was kicked in the Champions League. I just said, and I know like a lot of people think, what are you going on about? There's no facts behind this, or I get it. But there's certain clubs and certain nights and certain competitions that you associate a bit of magic with. And I've always said, like, Newcastle's the one. I remember the first game, I think it was, after Mike Ashley left. And you were still on an awful run of form. It's not like things changed on that first game. But all of a sudden, just like the TV's not turned up any louder than usual. And I was just like, oh my God, like this. I knew Newcastle's, ground was buzzing when things were going well and whatnot. But it's a 12th man. It literally is. And being starved of European football for that long, Champions League football for that long, I just sort of felt like there's going to be nights at St James's Park in the Champions League, no matter what is happening in the league. Even if you hadn't have picked up form and spanked a few teams like you had, and even if you were still not playing that well, I just thought, it holds no relevance. This is a different thing.
St James's was another level. Like every tackle, everything. It was celebrated.
They looked right, because there's no denying they had more talent than you, but they looked mentally unprepared for that. It's almost like no one had said, like Luis Enrique, he's probably not come up against Newcastle that often. I can't think of many times their players have. It's almost like no one said, oh, by the way, like, this is a cauldron, by the way. Like, you do realise what this is going to be like tonight. It's like they're just thinking, these lot new boys in the Champions League, you nearly got relegated from the Premier League not long ago, and it's like, no, it's a serious team to go and play. Like, it's
we strangled them with the ball as well. Like, whenever we were on the ball, we didn't give them the freedom to play their normal game. So as much as they had the ball, wasn't a lot they could have done with it at times.
It's feeling kind of like, how the Turkish teams, and with that environment is... You don't want to go there, and I think that will take a lot of people by surprise, but they should get ready, because the Geordies are always going to be up for it. And there's a good vibe around the place. So I was jealous. I'm not going to lie. All I felt was jealousy watching you lot, because I thought, well, why couldn't we do that? But...
Yellow. Sorry.
Yeah, that should be a yellow. But
Jorginho,
then again,
10 minutes yellow card. Come on.
Early.
Sorry,
no, it's fine. It's fine. But again, they will be dangerous. The home games is what's going to count. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
Well, even though they got the draw away at AC Milan, and now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking Newcastle could definitely top that group. Like, we say the home games, of course, they'll be important, but you wouldn't rule them out of getting...
I'm actually more worried about Dortmund. You know why? Because their players are used to a cauldron, so they might not be as affected as the posh boys from Paris.
When I was saying as well about it being a bit magic, when you look at the goal scorers, the personnel that put in the performances, it is a movie script. Like, it is. Like, it is like two Geordie boys scoring, do you know what I mean? It is.
Goal in it.
Yeah.
That made
Santiago
me feel good.
couldn't have done much better.
Because there were so many people giving the big about the Saudi money, and I'm like, we got Jamal Lascelles and Fabian Shaw. By the way, we paid $3 million and $4 million for those. And then we've got two Geordies and Almiron scoring. Like, it's hardly fucking...
It just goes to show that, I started the season talking about the manager that was struggling. I thought that Eddie Howe would be a goner. I looked at that situation. I said, they're going to get their next best manager, the one that takes them to the mountaintop. With all this money, you need that guy. But Eddie Howe's doing well.
This brings us on to a good point, because Simon Jordan has come out and said that Eddie Howe is going to be the Mark Hughes of Newcastle. In that he's going to do all right, but he ain't the man to get you the trophies, to take you to the next level, and he's going to stop short of that. Now, what do you lads think? Because I'm biased.
I don't think it's an outlandish statement. Do I agree with him?
Just a bit of context for you before you make your mind up.
Yeah.
Mark Hughes finished 10th with Man City.
Damn.
Okay.
And like, he wasn't terrible with them, and he did get them going, and they did get rid of him. But
so that means he's already exceeded Mark Hughes. Let's be honest; it's an unfair comparison. But I do think he maybe is the guy just before. If Newcastle are going to be a Man City of the future and someone that wins like the major honours, do I see Eddie Howe being that guy in my heart? No. He could prove me wrong, because he's already proved a lot of people wrong in such a short space of time. So I wouldn't write him off. But I think like I'm leaning more towards he is a stepping stone. But Mark Hughes is a harsh one.
I think there's two layers to this statement. So the first one is you could say, okay, the comparison he's making is the man that was there when the takeover happened. Well, the first thing with that is he wasn't there when the takeover happened. He came in just after. Obviously, Bruce was let go of. But you know, if you're making a direct comparison to Mark Hughes, it's night and day, isn't it? Like, Mark Hughes had never done previously in his career, whether he'd had a good time at Blackburn or Wales or wherever he'd been as manager, he had never done a patch on what Eddie Howe had already done before he went in to Newcastle. And the other thing we sort of look at when we say Mark Hughes, right? Okay, yeah, he was brought into that Man City side straight away, more or less, after their takeover, and given the luxury of being able to go out, spend big, sign players. This is before FFP as well, obviously. But also, a few people forget, he had that twice. He had that opportunity twice. He had it at QPR. He had that exact same opportunity at QPR. He got brought into QPR when they were battling relegation. What did he do? Ended up getting sacked, I think, 6 months later or something like that. So in terms of the analogy, in terms of saying, okay, the man that was there when the party started, I get it. It's a bit of a lazy one, but you could sort of say it. But in terms of comparing Eddie Howe to Mark Hughes...
Do you think he'll be the guy, though, that wins them the major honours?
No.
Do you think that?
No.
Why
No.
not?
But then when we say major honours, right? The reason I'm saying that is because when I say major honours, I'm saying Premier League titles and I'm saying Champions League titles. Yeah, they're the major honours. Do I think that Eddie Howe will accumulate silverware at Newcastle? If I had to put money on it, I'd say yes. But
the Saudi lot are going to want those though. They're going to want the league.
You say that,
but on it, just for the Pep Guardiola thing. Let's assume Pep Guardiola will not be at Man City till the end of time. As well, like I think he is going to come to an end at some point in the next few years. So,
He's loving it.
So let's just assume though, like in a level playing field, can he do it then?
Yeah, that might change my answer. But I had Pep in my mind when you asked me that question, and I'm thinking everyone says, oh, you know, he spends X amount of years, and it's coming towards the end of that at Man City. Pep ain't going Man City, leaving Man City for ages because there's no logical next step. There's no next step. When you're at Barcelona, you can go Bayern Munich, you can go Man City, new powerhouse in European football. There's no next logical step.
Ironically,
you stay at
Newcastle
Man City.
Are supposedly the next step.
Yeah, possibly, but I just couldn't see him doing it.
You could see international management.
It's international management. That's retirement. Okay, we pretty much know for someone of his level that's almost semi-retirement. So what I'm saying is, I personally believe that Pep will be there for quite a while, and then I'm saying, okay, if in 5 years from now they're not challenging Man City for a Premier League title, is it a nice sort of departure?
But then when you say the 5 years, you can't guarantee that he'll get there. Like, I never, taking from myself, I never thought Ten Hag would be under pressure this season. He is. So it's whatever happens in the season, you're asking him to stay for 5 years and it to go well. And the Newcastle fans will start to demand more season after season.
Do you not think it's so disrespectful to have another successful English manager that we just go, oh yeah, he's not good enough? Like, we've done it with so many English managers where we just write them off. And you could argue that it happened with Potter, and fair enough, like, you know, he didn't do what he needed to at Chelsea, but the start of his Chelsea career was actually pretty good. We do it every time with Southgate.
Gary
we just
Neville
say
in Spain.
He's not good enough. Gary Neville in Spain. But like, this guy, right? He's not just one of those managers. He's taken Bournemouth from League 2 all the way to the Premier League. Then he's taken Newcastle from the relegation places to, you know, beating PSG in the Champions League, right?
First time in the Champions League as well, by the way. So this is his first goal. He goes away to AC Milan, who were semi-finalists last year, and gets a good point against them. Then beats PSG with Mbappe, while he's got Dan Burn, Fabian Shaw, and Jamal Lascelles in defence. Like, when I look at it, I know I'm biased.
Ryan!
Oh my! When I look at it, I think you've spent less money than Ten Hag. You've climbed several more places than Ten Hag. You're now doing better than Ten Hag in the Champions League, and Ten Hag was supposed to be the next big thing, right?
Yeah.
So if Eddie Howe's got the most points accrued by an English football manager since the likes of Harry Redknapp and Bobby Robson, he should be spoken about, in my head, Eddie Howe should be spoken about as one of the up-and-coming future great managers in football right now. But I don't know why he's not seen that way. And obviously he hasn't won a trophy yet, a major trophy, and that's still...
That's one of the key reasons.
But yeah, and I agree, but he hasn't had the opportunity yet that all of these other managers, his contemporaries, have. So I just think we need to 100% give Eddie Howe all the time to do that, to find out. But do I think that there's a better option out there? Not because
where you are.
Because what you have to think about is profiles of clubs and managers and what is a match. And I think Eddie being an underdog and us feeling like an underdog, it's a great match right now, and the players respect him. And what you don't want to do is have a situation where players are undermining it. And that's where, if Eddie Howe was a Man United manager, in theory, I think Eddie Howe is a better manager than Ten Hag. And I think there's not even a competition.
He's not.
I think when you look at the fact that...
he's not, by the way. He's not.
Ten Hag... No, but I'm just using him as an example.
He's not, though.
Ten Hag took Man United from 6th to 3rd. Eddie Howe took us from 19th to beating
Ten Hag does have a league title, though, over in the Eredivisie.
Steve McLaren has a league title in the Dutch league, mate. It's not
more than one. All I'm saying is,
it's like a Happy Meal.
All I'm saying is, Ollie's
won,
beat PSG as well. So
that is a good point.
I mean, you've done Rio Ferdinand did this.
He hasn't taken a team 4 divisions up, has he? He hasn't taken a team from the 4th division.
But the point about Eddie Howe, there's a lot of managers who we see can do it in the lower leagues, but then they come up a league. Let's take Vincent Kompany, who's struggling right now. We thought he was the next big thing.
They said he was.
School of Pep. It's not that easy. And Eddie Howe is showing he belongs at the very top. Now, is he going to be able to do, like Poch, for example, we thought maybe he's the guy, but it didn't quite happen for him. So I think he's got all the tools to be that guy.
He's in a good situation. Right now, he's in a good situation. He's backed. And he's got, and the culture's right. One thing I can rate about him is he set the culture of the club, and he got hard-working, industrial players in there. And if it stays like that, then he could still do well. It's when you go for the next. It's when you go for the next level player. And
do you know what gives me confidence in Eddie Howe above any manager who we may be able to get outside of Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp? Is he has taken players who I looked at and thought dead. Finished, get out of my club, and then had them beaten Mbappe. Like when I do criticise Ten Hag and other managers like that, I go, who's he improved? Where is the improvement?
Luke Shaw, Rashford. Well, Rashford's
brilliant. He's doing great.
Rashford's on a downward spiral,
right.
but then he has like.
But let me ask you a question, Brian. Do you think if Eddie Howe, and I know this is purely hypotheticals, but if Eddie Howe was at this Man United team right now, he'd be getting better at these players.
I say this with absolute certainty, and I could be like people can disagree.
Injuries.
But when I look at what Eddie Howe has gotten out of certain players, the improvement in Sean Longstaff, the improvement in Joe Linton, the improvement in Joe Willock, the improvement in Dan Burn, Jamal Lascelles, and Fabian Shaw. Fabian Shaw was benched by Steve Bruce. Not good enough. He's now rocketing in them from 30 yards against PSG. Like.
Do you think
you are looking at great coaching with your own
No,
eyes.
he's a good coach. But the reason I asked you that, and I think maybe he would, but the reason I'm asking you that is because context is important. And I feel like the pressure at Newcastle when he takes that job and they've just been bought, did he take the job before they were bought or after?
Just after.
Just after, right. So when he takes that job at that point in time, no one's expecting miracles overnight because you lot were fighting relegation and stuff like that. So it was like steady the ship, keep us in the Premier League. Those were the expectations at that point in time. When you step into Man United now, like Ten Hag has, the level of pressure and everything is completely different. And I think that's why with Eddie Howe at Newcastle now, the more and more successful Newcastle get, the more the pressure goes up. And that's what happens when you're at a big club.
You're making a good point, though. He's got great credit in the bank from what he's taken them from. So there's a love there. There's a natural love that you feel for him. That's why it'll be hard for you to criticize him or say anything negative because so far, everything has been
There's
better.
just more pressure at some clubs than other clubs, I think, right now.
There's nowhere in football that's got more pressure probably than Man United. I accept that. But I'm not looking at Ten Hag going, he's dealing with that well. He looks fucking terrible.
Can I tell you
so when you say to me, could Eddie Howe do better? It's like Eddie Howe literally matched Ten Hag last season for points and everything, spending less money with a squad that was worse. So how can I possibly think Eddie Howe couldn't do better than Ten Hag? Of course not.
The main thing that I would say here, right, is if you're asking, would Eddie Howe be doing better with this current Man United side? If he gets dropped into this Man United side in the state it is, with the personnel it is, then maybe that's different. However, if you go, right, instead of Ten Hag taking over at the start of last season, Eddie Howe had to taken over at the start of last season, then purely down to one factor and one factor only in recruitment, I'm telling you now, he would be doing so much better. Name me a bad Eddie Howe signing. At Newcastle, name me a bad one.
There's only one, I can tell you who.
Chris Wood?
Yeah.
They went and got their money back.
And we got the money back from him.
Okay. But you could name me how many good ones? 10, 11, something like that.
90%.
How many good Ten Hag signings at Man United
There's
so far?
two that's got question mark in it. Nana's got the question mark. And I think it's too early to say Mount's rubbish.
I don't think anyone thinks
Anthony.
Mount's rubbish. It's just, is it a bad signing for Man United?
Onana and Anthony are the question marks right now.
So then just to, if we look at Malacia, for example. Now he's a player. I don't think he's a bad player. But then if you look at the fee you spent on him, which is just under 20 mil, something like that. What I'm saying is pound for pound, there are players.
Hey, he's taking the piss. That guy's on fraud watch as well. Raya's
going.
Raya's
that a pen? Is that a pen?
Nah.
I think that if Eddie Howe had been given the same sort of transfer budget at Man United with the ability to spend it, it would have been spent a lot wiser, and therefore I think the personnel
but then you have
that
to remember the club we are and how we do business as well, because above Ten Hag is the way Man United are run, and you lot know we're run like it's garbage in terms of there's targets that we would like and that we will never get. We don't get into the market at the right time. We just don't do because I heard that Ten Hag wanted Harry Kane. Now he's chosen. He went for Højlund instead, but the Glazers said there's no way in hell we're going to spend that level of money for a guy that's coming to the end of his career.
The bottom line is, though, anyone who signed for Newcastle will sign for Man United, and therefore you've spent more money than Newcastle. So the math isn't mathing. Like Eddie Howe, he would have been able to get good players through the door, and has overperformed Ten Hag.
I just think Simon Jordan, I think he has a point, right? I just think he has a point. I think Eddie Howe, he could shock me, and I wouldn't be completely shocked and go and actually maybe in 2-3 years win the Premier League with Newcastle, maybe, I don't know. But for me, looking at it right now, a lot of the managers that have won the Premier League, the Klopps, the Peps, they've gone somewhere else and had that experience of winning titles, doing the marathon, the 38 games or whatever it happens to be. Even like Ange now, it was in Celtic, all right, cool, but he's won a treble over there, do you know what I mean? And now he's come into the Premier League too early, but he's doing well because there's some experience there of winning a marathon.
Howe has done that, though. Howe has
in the
done
Championship.
That. Yeah, but you just said the Dutch League. You're talking about the Dutch League. Is the Dutch
no
League
one in the
million miles off the Championship?
No team in the Championship plays in the Champions League.
Hey, referee!
It's a foul.
Do you get what I'm saying? No team in the Championship plays in the Champions League.
I do understand that. I'm just saying in terms of what you would have gained mentally from it.
Yeah, but
I know the standard is different.
He was winning the league with Ajax. He took Ajax to a Champions League semi-final with kids. Like, he still did things. Like, it wasn't like he's having a bad time at Man United right now, but he still did things.
I'm not denying it's more impressive, but obviously, of course, it is in the Dutch
League.
Then
taking the team out of the Championship? Look at Luton.
I'm not denying it's more impressive. What I'm saying is
Edwards.
you were saying it as if Eddie Howe hasn't done that. Maybe it's a lesser extent Eddie Howe has done that.
Look what companies do.
Eddie Howe did it with a 10,000 capacity stadium of Bournemouth Crazy.
We don't.
Yeah, but that's not winning a league title. I was just going
to make a point here, right? We don't have a horse in this race, right?
Yep.
If you're doing now and Postecoglou didn't exist, and you're trying to pick what manager you would want if it was Howe or Ten Hag,
they already
who would
Ten
you
Hag
want?
down.
Who would you want? Yeah, but who would you want at your club now?
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Retrospect's a great thing. I'm saying Eddie Howe right now.
There you go. So you're slagging Eddie Howe off and saying he hasn't won anything, but you take him at your club.
Whoa. Yeah, but let's not do that. I never slagged him off.
You completely slagged him off there.
You definitely did.
You were horrible about it.
Hold on. Let's backtrack a bit. I said I think Eddie Howe's done amazing at Newcastle, but to go to the next step of winning a league and a Champions League, maybe 1 too far, that's slagging him off.
Let's slag him
That's
off,
not slagging him off.
Don't worry. Come on, man. Don't
make me buy into it because I'll start slagging him off. I like Eddie Howe, and he's far beyond exceed my expectations at Newcastle. But I just think the league title and the Champions League, these are hard things to win. And even if Pep was to leave, you still got to compete with Klopp. Like, there's still good managers in the league.
Eddie Howe's going to win nothing. There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
Stand on
you
it.
got us in the as well in the Carabao Cup.
Who's going to win a cup first?
Oh wait,
Ten Hag's already won
We've
one.
already done that.
We've
already done it
against them.
Come on, yeah.
Against them.
We're gonna knock them out.
No, hold on. You haven't even dropped that on the table yet.
He knows.
The managers played each other.
He remembers that. We finished higher than them as well. There you go.
You had a standing start that was far. You were building on the shoulders of a 6th place finish. We were in 19th. Okay. So now
we're in
this season
is
the first season ever Newcastle finish above Man United.
Oh,
that's what's happening. It's going to happen.
I can see that as well. I can see it.
I would have bet my
You can't, innit?
Would you come on this show? Would you come on this show and say that Eddie Howe is a better manager? If they finished above you, would you come on and say, look, Eddie is the better manager?
That's not hard for
you. Got to admit it.
Would you do it?
You got to admit it.
Ten Hag's a fraud.
We'll put some money down. We'll put somebody in.
Would you do it?
There's no way. I'll come back.
He owes out too much
come back.
already. Arsenal
I owe
fans.
too much money.
He's fucking bankrupt.
I owe too much money, bro.
Would you come in and say Jose is your second best manager after
I won't
Fergie
say none of these things.
in the
My
Premier League era?
My
That's
man
a fact. That's actually a fact, by the way.
My man is going to turn this around.
He won't
gonna turn it
achieve
around.
more than Jose.
You don't believe
he won't.
that?
He won't
He
achieve
will.
more than
He will.
Jose.
He
He
will.
won't.
He will.
Let's get a quick recap, lads. What we're saying about this game so far? It's 0-0. Obviously,
You lot need to talk about the
there's
goalkeeper.
there's been some good chances. Obviously, I think Nketiah had a decent swing at it. There's a bad challenge
If that's
there.
Liverpool,
on
Right on the
Odegaard.
Achilles.
If that's Liverpool, that's a red card.
So Kovacic
Nah,
comes
it's not
in
genuinely.
straight through
If
the
that's
back of
Liverpool,
Odegaard
It's yellow.
and
But if that's
clipped his
Liverpool-
Achilles. That is not a good injury.
It's an orange.
yellow, though.
It's an orange.
If that's Liverpool, that's a red card.
Will this get looked at?
Do you know if his Achilles is bad there?
It's going to
he's
VAR.
fucked. He is fucked.
Is it?
Is it
It's
going to VAR?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah.
a red, man, because he didn't go over the ball.
If that's
Did he
Liverpool,
Did he touch
It
the
is
ball?
reckless,
Did he
isn't it?
touch the ball?
No.
There you go then. This
But
this could be
it's
red.
not high, though. It's not high.
Oh, this is a red.
you
This is a red.
fucker. Do you know the ankle? It goes into his ankle. Oh,
Nah.
But see the slow motion thing, it's annoying because
Yeah.
I wouldn't
it's
say
just
it's a
like
red.
as soon as you look in slow, that's dangerous.
But
That
he
looks
doesn't
horrid.
touch it. He doesn't touch the ball. That's the key thing, whether
He's
you touch
off.
the ball or not.
I tell you what, Kovacic
He's
could be
off.
going here.
He could be.
That is an ankle breaker.
That's a
potentially.
Liverpool special.
It's not even just a slow
Aye,
motion.
lads, that is an
what do you
ankle
reckon they're
breaker,
saying on the
He didn't hit him that
VAR?
hard, though. It wasn't
Yeah.
It wasn't planted on him, though. It was like
I don't like that.
What's the
challenge,
VAR
mate.
conversation?
Let's think about this logically.
Yeah.
You're coming from behind,
the lines.
right? You're coming from behind. You
yellow
don't
card
touch the
there. It's
ball.
done. It's a yellow, man.
He's got lucky.
He's
there.
lucky
No.
there.
How is he
Way.
lucky?
Liverpool are not getting away with that because there's a thing for these guys. They just want to.
but
Curtis Jones rolled over the ball and basically stamped
I
on
hear you,
Basuma's
but
leg.
the point is that where the impact took place, there was that buckle in the leg where you can see the legs about to break. It was kind of similar there. So
No.
if you're a Liverpool fan watching that, you're like,
You're furious.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, you're furious.
So
No, but if you see this in real time, like not the slow one, in
Uh-huh.
real time, he's not actually planting it on him. It just looks like that. It's like
but
there's
they never do the
short
slow. They
connection.
always show the slow motion one, and they show the final frame as well.
let's talk about the Liverpool fans and Jurgen Klopp and all of the VAR.
Yeah, let's
stuff
get
that's
into
going.
this because a lot of people were upset last.
Yeah, a lot of people have been upset, and Craig benefited from it, so he's probably loving life. First thing that happened, obviously, we watched it in real time. We all thought, what's going on here? Are they not checking for the offside? We were gobsmacked. It turned out have you all heard the audio?
Yep.
Yes.
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 What do we make of the audio? What's the problems?
Can I just say one thing before we actually delve into it? Why don't they change the language they use? They sound like a load of coppers talking. Like it's all.
They are.
Yeah, but it's just the jargon of it. It's all just so confusing. Just say, I'm going to look into it now. I'm going to see whether it is offside or not. It's check complete. Yep, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like it makes it more confusing than it needs to be for a group of people who have shown time in time out that they're pretty
Can I
incompetent
just compare
when it
this to
comes to
something?
this.
I used to be a deep sea diver, right? Never told you that. And we would talk to each other underwater, right? And this is the sort of thing, right? It was life and death. Yet we'd still talk with more calmness and more clarity and more regular English than these fucking guys sorting out whether it was a goal or not. Like and also for me, when you talk about the confusion created, how could there not be confusion? There was no one on that call who sounded like they were in charge,
No one. No.
in control, and actually leading the situation and going, what's going on here? At no point did anyone seem to. And do you know why that is? I'm convinced. No one wants to take responsibility, and no one wants the buck
Us under
stop
the
with
buck.
them.
Exactly what you say there. No one wants to take responsibility. There was one point, wasn't there? And I don't know who was the person saying this, but he goes, "Are you happy with that? Are you happy with that?" Rephrase what you're saying. You don't mean, are you happy with that? That is your way of saying that
That's on you.
decision is wrong. Yeah? But you don't want to say it, so you're going, you happy with that?
Mate,
You
that
happy
was
with
the replay operator, the most junior person in the room, was the one that was going, are you sure you want to give this decision? I've drawn the lines. This is the guy that draws the lines.
No,
he
no,
isn't the
no.
one, he isn't a ref.
But look how you just worded it. Are you sure you want to give that? That's not how he worded it.
Yeah.
He was going, you happy with that? Be a man, put your foot down and
There
go,
was no
look,
one-
it's
none of them
were
take
men.
accountability.
Bunch of fucking
But Joey,
pussies.
that guy isn't a ref. That
No.
guy is a technician that's there to draw the lines. That's as simple as that's what he does. He brings up the replays. So it's really the assistant VAR and the VAR that
Yeah.
need to be there, and the assertive ones that need to be men and make.
Mate.
What I found very
So bad.
interesting about it, the absolute egomaniac Mike Dean, he was back. He was on the
With Paul Merson.
Paul
Yeah.
Merson. He was one of the panel shows.
Merson lost it, didn't he?
yeah,
Oh, wide for him,
and Mike Dean, like, literally, Mike Dean, he would love it. He wants to be a celebrity as much as possible. So he will jump at any opportunities to do anything like that. But Mike Dean actually made a very, very valid point for once. And what he said, I hate Mike Dean. What he said was, he basically said that although everyone's used this perfect scenario of we just stop the game, we stop the game there and then, even though it's playing, and we say, look, we go back to it. What he was saying is, if you are a owner of a football club, say for example Daniel Levy, he will know, or someone around him in his team will have the protocol and the rules of VAR. So say for example, because it is against the rules, no matter what, you're probably getting sued. Do you know what I mean? So if say for example Liverpool go on to draw that game, win that game, and Daniel Levy then looks into the protocol of VAR and realises in the rule book that you're not actually allowed to do that, no matter what, there is a media storm. You are getting sued by someone, something.
So we can accept the rules are wrong then. And Mike Dean, the funny thing about Mike Dean is he is a proper copper, and he goes, Paul Merson goes, well, we need a proper footballer in there who can actually fucking untangle this shit and get some leadership in there, who really is played the game. And Mike Dean goes, well, they wouldn't know the rules. And the best bit about it was, it's like, you think that these footballers can play the game for 20 years, but they can't do a bit of reading and figure out the rules and then apply them to a job. Like, how insulting.
But it's too biased though. You can't have the top players that played in for these
I don't know why.
teams.
How can a footballer be any less biased than anyone else in football, whether it be a manager, a fan, a referee? We all have unconscious or conscious biases. We need, whether it's a footballer or not, I don't really mind, authority, leadership. That was a bunch of pussies on that ball.
That's a yellow
It was
card.
Embarrassing.
Surely the best rule though is common sense,
Kovacic
and that is
doing?
what
Get
that
him-
lacks massively.
They got to take him off. They got to take him off.
Is this a dive? He's not booking him for diving then? Well, wait,
That's not a dive. He's connected.
We need to figure this out, right? Because it's either a dive from Rice or it's a foul. He hasn't got the ball.
Kovacic is a lucky man. He's a
Take
very
him off.
lucky man.
But the referee is saying it's not a foul, but Rice has gone down. So
That's gotta
obviously
take
the
him
other day we had a Spurs player sent off for diving. So you either book him for diving or
Or it could have just been a foul without a yellow card.
No, you can't dive into a tackle on a yellow like that, bro.
What do you mean?
this is
Not every
lunging in thing is a yellow. Not every single one is basically.
Your
what I'm
tone
saying.
of the game is
He's lucky.
firing.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying not every single one is a yellow.
I understand.
Do you know what I
But
mean? We can't move into this
He's
position
very
now where
lucky to
every
be on the
challenge
pitch.
is a yellow, because I feel like that's where we're going these days.
So-
Like these referees are bringing out cards for no reason. But yeah, sorry, back to
No, it's all right. So the actual decisions that took place that day, we had the offside, which we all know was wrong, and the goal should have stood. Then we had 2 red cards. We had 2 red cards. What do we think of those red cards? Just out of interest.
I think, can I just say, sorry, I think they were both red cards. I think the first one, 100% Curtis Jones was a red card. I'm not hearing any of this stuff about the ball. Gary Neville was pissing me off with that. Like, he's someone I thought would straight away say that is a red card. But
It was a red.
That was a red card. I think the only bit of injustice was the first challenge from Jota didn't look like a yellow on Undogi. It didn't look like a yellow. It looked like he tripped over his own leg. The second one was a yellow. So, yeah, you could say, all right, he should never have had a first yellow to begin with. But once you're on the yellow, you've got to control how you make tackles after that. So I don't have sympathy. I think the second one was a yellow, and if you're already on a yellow, it's a red card. So,
in regards to how Liverpool reacted and Jurgen Klopp and the wanting the replay, what are we saying about that? Do you think he was
He's
fair?
got to charge it to the game. He's got to charge it. Simple as that. Everyone has these moments, and it balances itself out in football where, it'll go for you. We've seen a lot of times when Liverpool have had some crazy decisions. Even when he won the league, there was stuff that it's super extra time. There was a lot of things that are going for them, where the whole Liverpool, the VAR part in their name, where it comes from. So they just need to understand this is their moment of it's not working for them at the moment. It will balance itself out.
So you're being too nice. Klopp, that was embarrassing. That was
but Klopp has these
embarrassing. No.
moments.
It was embarrassing. And I'm not just saying that as a Spurs fan or someone that's trying to avoid a replay. The reality is, every team gets an injustice with VAR. Some worse than others. Yes, this might even be the benchmark, unfortunately,
This
for
was
you,
an
Liverpool.
injustice, though.
It was bad. But the reality is, the goal was in the 30-something minute. All right, you had 10 men. So even if you was given the goal, you had to play another, 60 minutes with 10 men.
Shoot.
The result was not a given. It was not a given result, Klopp. So for you to ask for the whole game to be replayed of a goal that potentially, should have been given that early on in the game, is ludicrous. That's the first thing. The second
The
thing
argument is, though, just to make it clear, he said it's never ever happened before where referees have acknowledged like that it was the wrong decision in that sense, like as it was happening or something like that.
So we got to be punished for our goals now after that, and play a whole other game again. No, I'm just that's what I'm putting out there to Klopp. Yeah. You're opening a stupid door, and that's the thing about Klopp. Like after the game, we were all surprised. We were sitting here after the game thinking, how is he? Oh, what's his presser going to be like? He was calm. He handled it very well. I was actually impressed by how he kept his emotions in check. And then you go into a midweek presser and then basically spew that nonsense. It just looks silly, man. Like, I don't know why he did that.
Where do you draw the line? Like, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line with that replay? Because then it's the precedent you set going forward. How many matches could potentially... You'd have AC Milan going, do you know what? That 2005 final, Jersey Dudek was off his line, wasn't he? I think we should go for a replay.
The biggest mistake that happened online, look, Twitter's just a joke, isn't it? But the amount of infighting that was going on between football clubs going, you haven't had it as bad as us. Remember when we got fucked by on this day, on 2019 or whatever? And I was like, we're all getting fucked by it every week, lads. Yeah. Can we not just band together and accept we all need to like make a bit of a movement against VR?
Yeah.
But this is what you want. You want the dividing, don't you? You want all of these fans bickering.
No, but VAR wasn't the problem, Brian, though. That's the thing. It wasn't a VAR problem. VAR does its job. It's about the human that's controlling VAR. VAR has actually cleared up loads of goals that should have been goals throughout the years. Goals that were actually offside or onside. Every week it clears it up. Ooh.
You know what?
Every week it does its job. It's just unfortunate on this occasion there were some incompetent individuals in the office that let Liverpool down on that occasion. That doesn't mean that there needs to be a replay or we need to rethink the technology. Unfortunately, the technology's here and it does its job.
The lawsuit type talk. You know that when there was a statement put out by Liverpool about we may take further action.
It's just they want to show us. They want to show some teeth. I want to say this game, has literally it's topsy turvy. I can't even tell you. 1 minute it looks like Man City are really dominating, but ever since that little moment where it should have been a red card. I think Arsenal have secretly come back into this one, but it's it's a really good game. This game it's really good. And that little young kid in the middle, Rico, he's playing he's ready for the moment. Really good.
But Liverpool saying they want to escalate it to who? To what? Like, what is the justice you're looking for? What's the outcome of that? I don't understand what putting that statement
I think that's applying as much pressure on the Premier League as possible.
To do what?
To be favourable to them moving forward.
Yes.
Sort of thing.
I have never seen a club or a manager or even, and I'll tread lightly with saying this, a fan base be so upset about something. It's unprecedented. We haven't seen it on this level before. But everyone has had an injustice from VAR.
No, but Liverpool,
everyone's had it. Everyone.
He's doing the Fergie thing, and Fergie had this way of making sure that he keeps the referees in check. So him doing that just lets them know if another situation happens, think twice when you're gonna do a bad decision against Klopp. It works.
So that means you're kind of creating bias. That's not good.
It's
that's not good.
No, but I like as a manager, it's a very.
But for the integrity of the game, that's not good.
What Klopp's doing is he's going to make referees fearful of going against Liverpool.
That's not fair, though. That's actually not fair.
Smart.
But he's turning a shit situation into the most positive one. And I'm not saying it's a good idea or that I support it, but I understand the manipulation that is being applied.
Going on. This is what's annoying. We're going on like this goal was the last minute winner for Liverpool, and
I'm talking about.
What are we talking about? It was a goal in a game early in the game.
Yes. But I'm talking about he's thinking about the next game and what happens after this. He wants to say, do not do a bad decision against Liverpool because look at how far we'll take this. We're willing to take this to court. We're willing to do whatever it takes for you to make sure when you blow that whistle, you think twice.
So I thought was hilarious as well. Some of the fans starting petitions and stuff and trying to get other fans to join in it. And then the other fans were basically saying like, hold on, you lot weren't doing this when we had our injustice. They're like, no, it's about the bigger picture. Yeah, but it's only about the bigger picture now. It's about your club.
But one of the things I think is a mistake is to stop those guys who were on that call from refereeing future games. Like, they need educated. Like, punishing them, well, are they going to get any better? Like, sit them down, make someone accountable. Say you were supposed to be the fucking leader in the situation. You were like a fucking. You didn't even make as much noise as a fucking church mouse here. So what was going wrong? Ask them questions, have it out, and say this is what you should have said. This is what you should have. Like suspending them.
You're gonna get Eddie Howe in there, innit?
It's so.
You're gonna get Eddie Howe in there.
Eddie Howe will get a character out of them. You made Joe Linton into a warrior. No, but like. Suspending them is just all it does is go, well, we've done this, so everyone can pipe down. And it's so performative.
Another thing that Mike Dean said on this panel show, whoever was
you
talking,
and Mike Dean.
He said, sorry, but I just he does my nutting.
He loves it.
So another thing
Great
he said,
producer.
someone put the questions to him, and they said to him, listen, what would have happened if the VAR assistant in control had of gone against the protocol and had have called the game back? And Mike Dean, as if it was the worst thing in the world, went, don't think you'd have seen him in the VAR room again this season.
Wow.
This season? Who cares? What, so he wouldn't have been making the judgments again this season?
Wow.
That doesn't matter because clearly none of them are that competent anyway. So it's like, you're saying, don't think I would have seen him again this season. Okay, so he wouldn't have worked for VAR again this season. He would have been back again next season. It doesn't really make that much difference because they're all going to serve suspensions or have some sort of thing go against them anyway.
There was a list created, just found this on Twitter here, of Manchester City's favouritism that they've had from the system. Like
should be good.
In 2022, Everton got an apology after Rodri handball wasn't given as a penalty. Everton lost 1-0. Liverpool lost the title by 1 point. This decision inevitably gave them, and then there's another one. Arsenal got 2 apologies, which cost them 5 points. City won the league by 5 points. And it goes on and on. So,
hadn't the VAR team been somewhere in the week as well?
They went to Dubai, yeah.
Can I just say something as well?
Barclays paid for the lot.
Yeah.
If this was 10 years ago before VAR, that goal just would have been chalked off and that's it. Because the flag went up and that was it. So let's think about all the goals before VAR was introduced that were correctly given as offside. And in the history of football, all the Premier League, the last, 30 years before VAR came
England
about,
might not have won a World
there
Cup.
were loads of goals that were correctly given offside. And as football fans, we just went, you know what? That linesman got it long. We never. We never did this.
Yeah.
We never went. Oh, we're gonna escalate our statements. What was going on right
I
now?
like everyone drawing lines.
If there was no VAR, if there was no VAR, like the flag just would have went up and you wouldn't have had your goal. That's how football used to be,
I like everyone drawing their own
entitled.
lines. Yeah, I think it's fun seeing the lines that everyone are drawing, your own personal homemade lines as well.
Oh, yeah, everyone's
I
getting
think it's brilliant.
Microsoft Paint out. Man. It's getting crazy.
Rulers out. So go around the table now. Are we all in favour of keeping VAR?
Yes.
So you wouldn't change anything?
Nah, you can make it automated like they did in the World Cup. I think that's
the Champions League system, the World Cup system,
automated. That's smart. But keep VAR. I think it's brilliant.
I think that what we need is more transparency and a complete revamp of the way they communicate to each other. And I think the minute we go to VAR on TV, the audio should switch from commentary so that we immediately hear what's being said with the VAR. I don't think we should be kept out of it.
Have you seen it? I've got it. Are you happy with that?
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad if it got scrapped. I wouldn't mind.
No,
I wouldn't. I miss football the way
we played 100 years of football without it.
Yeah, I would say if it was down to me right now, although we can say we can revamp it, I don't have confidence in their competence, so I would just say scrap it. I would. Do you know what I don't like?
Do you know what I don't like? Trying to
more or less, we're passing the buck. Like, I don't like the fact that like my team Chelsea hardly ever score goals. When we do score a goal, I want to celebrate. I don't want to get made a meme out of like 2 seconds later when the goal gets disallowed. Do you know what I mean?
I missed that part of it. The celebration part is been killed.
Well, we get 2 celebrations now, though, innit?
It's the second one never hit. Second one never hit.
Or a celebration either way when the goal gets banned.
Is there a happy medium where we minimise it so that we have was it over the goal? Was it offside? The rest. I think goal line and maybe if we can get away for the offsides, but that's about it. I think what's the point in having a ref on the pitch?
These screens as well, where they have to go, the ref has to walk over to the screen to then basically have a freeze frame of a really bad, because as soon as they go over to the screen, as soon as they go over, the decision has been made. It's just like we're just wasting time. Like football is meant to be quick. It's meant to be there's meant to be like a flow of the game.
Do you know,
and that's what I miss.
It's very NFL.
Do you know the ones I don't like as well? Like where there's a great bit pattern of play, and then they check it as offside, and it's like the person's shoulder is a bit past the defender's boot.
That's dead.
The past their boot, and it's like, it's offside. Before VAR, that was a perfectly good goal. That was a perfectly good goal. Their foot was all the way there.
Good news, mate. Arsene Wenger, your best mate, has solved that problem.
What do you mean?
Arsene Wenger has submitted a rule to go into the IFAB system where the offsides are determined from the player being in front of them completely. So, i.e., there has to be air between the players. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you'd get more goals, you'd get more action. I actually think that's
Well, we
that's
would have got
one of
that
the solutions.
Garnacho one, innit? That was so pissed off.
It's already started online, by the way, about the comparisons between the Challenge and
course
the
it has.
Liverpool
Of course it
game.
has.
Of course it has.
So, yeah, pretty even, first off. Exciting game.
What's the odds on the draws now?
Cool. Well, it would have been 3,000 to 1 before the game, wouldn't it? But I don't know what it is now.
That's like
No, it's been a really, like, for a 0-0 draw, like, it's actually been quite exciting. There has been quite a lot going on. There's been chances at both ends, hasn't there? So it's been a decent
fiery.
game so far, yeah.
We're going
I
to
do
go
think
on
it should be 10
to
men.
best and worst signings so far of the season. Obviously, these can change. We're doing this after, 8 fucking Premier League games. So, players can come good in the second half of the season. We might be wrong. But we're just basing it off what we've seen so far. Any suggestions for...
Oh, no.
Worst then? Okay, we'll go for worst.
Yeah, worse.
You think Onana?
For now, he's
your number
hurting
one?
me. It's hurting a lot. So I
Worse
have to
than
put him
Mason
in there.
Mount?
No, Mason Mount. We give him. I think he could be all right. I think we're starting to like the look of him. I think he'd be. I think he's got like a good press. He's technical. Like my expectation was on the floor. So now he's just surprising me, which is good.
You know what the only problem with the Mason Mount one is? And obviously this isn't personally down to his performance, I would say. But with the Mason Mount one, right? One of the leading things, apart from the character in the dressing room and everything that was going on, one of the things systematically why you lot got rid of Ronaldo, was what his game did to Bruno's game, in terms of like Bruno was never anywhere near the player when Ronaldo was on the pitch because, I don't know what it was, it just combated the way he wanted to play a little bit. And then they brought Mason Mount in, who again is doing the same thing to
Bruno.
Then
Bruno
you push
again, isn't
Bruno
it?
out on the
Bruno.
wide there.
So I think regardless, not saying regardless, because if Mount was having absolute barnstormers every game, and in the Champions League he looked decent, I didn't see him the other day, but he might look good, but I think if he's just performing around average, then that could fall into the category of a little bit of a bad signing because of what it's doing for your main man at the same time.
I think Bruno's just out of form, and I think that he's been a victim of the situation with there's nothing on the right. We had Allegation FC and everything going on. So now we just kind of like, Anthony's back. We'll get to see what the manager thinks about this midfield. So we'll let us know in the next 3 or 4 games how he sees Mount, Bruno and Amrabat. We'll now know.
I rate Mount as a footballer, but I don't rate him as a signing for Man United. I don't think they should have signed him. I think that money could have been better spent elsewhere, and I do think it's a conflict of roles between him and Bruno Fernandes. That being said, he hasn't looked terrible. He's been fine, but Onana has looked terrible.
Yeah, so it's fair to put. If you lot said Onana's getting one of the worst signings, I say, well, I can't argue with it.
Any Chelsea players, lads? Any?
Ex-Chelsea.
All of them.
Ex-Chelsea player.
Are we saying Jackson? Anyone? Missed a few seconds.
Yeah. Jackson.
I think that's so harsh. Like, we only spent 30-odd million on him. I think he's come in. He scored yesterday.
Only 30 odd.
Only 30 odd.
30 million, isn't it? Are you joking? No, but come on. Oh, come on.
The wealth of that situation.
What? Coming from you?
No, but bro, you spent $1 billion.
In the
You spent $1 billion, bro. You coming from mate. You should be talking about yourself.
Should we talk about net spend?
You want to talk about that?
Because you lot found that little, what do you call it, that loophole. That Qatar loophole, bro. That's
Qatar,
Saudi loophole.
Let me talk about
Disgusting.
Jackson's stats.
Yeah, go on.
Let's go for it.
Wish
Please
you had a
do.
Qatar loophole.
I want
You need
Qatar,
I want some.
He's got more yellow cards than goals, which isn't good for a striker. He's got 5 yellow cards.
Combative, Brian. Combative.
Two goals in 7 games. So 2 goals in 7 games.
McTominay done that.
Wait, is he missing his next game?
In one
You said
game.
He's got 5 yellow cards.
Yeah.
He's already done
served
it.
it.
He's already
Served
served
it.
it.
So look, some of his runs look pretty good, but the amount of sitters he's missed, I would be really worried.
Disgrace.
I would be worried. Even though it's 35 million or 30 odd million, I know that for Chelsea isn't mega bucks. You wanted to have someone who you could at least rely on to some degree, and 2 goals in 7 games isn't that. And look, he's young, he might get better, but I think it's a flop so far.
I think a flop is way
yeah.
too
I'm
harsh.
going to go
way
with a flop.
too harsh.
I like that.
Nah.
I like that.
I just think context is everything, and maybe I've got blue tinted glasses on, but when I look at certain players in this list, i.e. Havertz, someone I've had experience with myself, and other players in this list, I sort of look at them and I go, right, not only with how you're performing at this second right now, but also let me touch into maybe what I see coming of you, the positions you're getting into, the opportunities you're getting, and how I think that something could change. So when I weigh that up and I go, how much possibility is there that this is going to flip on its head and you are going to start banging goals or you are going to start doing what we brought you in for? That's why I hold a lot more confidence in Nicholas Jackson. So I wouldn't put him in a flop myself. But
does he start now that you've got competition?
Yeah, he starts at a Brower.
Yeah.
All
right.
I'd say it's a coin toss between Onana and Havertz.
Yeah, that's
for me. I think.
But there's got to be more flops this season. Surely, if we go around the grounds,
I think those are the two. I think those are the two that you got to go.
Onana's
they are awful.
Yeah.
Like Havertz, just for context, £65 million, 330 grand a week. Like
hold on, is that much they're paying?
Yeah,
it's Havertz.
It doesn't. We've solved it. He doesn't even get in the team today.
That's hilarious.
He doesn't even get in the team.
Brian, what about
penalty?
Tonali? Because I'm not saying I think it's a flop, but that's someone that people have blown hot and cold on a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're yet to see. Look, I think we've definitely seen more from Tonali than Mount than Jackson, but it's not what I was hoping for yet. But I'm very open-minded on him. I'm worried.
I'm putting him on the list.
I'm worried. I only say that because
is he on fraud watch?
I don't know if fraud watches. I think we're a bit soon on that because he had a good game against PSG. He's had some good games. He had an amazing game against Aston Villa. So when you look at him go, you've had a couple of amazing games there, and then some games where you've been a bit. Meh.
Does the fact he's Italian worry you?
By the way,
slightly.
1 second, because it's a big issue that everyone's talking about right now. They're talking about the Kovacic 2 issues, the 2 tackles.
The 2 tackles.
The first one was disgusting. They're showing you
do you think this is the second yellow? Do you think it is?
After just getting one a few seconds
That
ago.
was the first challenge, wasn't it?
No, the second one.
That was the second.
That's he should be off.
But is it one of them ones? Can I just
This
just
is
for devil's
number
advocate?
2.
Devil's advocate.
Go on, advocate.
Is that one of them ones where if you're not on a yellow, that's a yellow?
Yes.
But if you're on a yellow already,
You can't ref the game like
it's
that.
an orange.
But they do it.
Yeah,
they do that.
You're
though.
right.
Yeah.
They
But
They do that.
I'll tell you
They've
what,
always
Mike
done that.
Dean wouldn't have done
But
that.
seconds after the thingy, it's like, mate, you're a muppet,
You might
innit?
Dean on Misfits.
Call him out, mate.
Pep's got to
Call
take
him out.
Yeah.
Pep's got to take Calvin Phillips.
Whoa.
Maybe
Probably
this is his time.
We'll
I'm not
we'll
risking
find
Kovacic.
out how bad Calvin Phillips is in the eyes of Pep if Kovacic comes out for the second half.
I'll tell you what would
Because
be...
a manager always hooks a player who's reckless like that at this point.
Yeah.
I think there's more likelihood that Nunez comes on than.
Yeah,
and we
Mateus
forget about him.
Nunes.
Can we just talk about flops of the season with Nunez? Right. I just want to say his name because he's in the conversation. He plays against Wolves and they lose that game. Just saying, he was a panic buy. They wanted Paqueta, didn't they? They got Nunez. He isn't really a defensive midfielder. He isn't really solving their problems. So, Man City, they don't often have a few transfer failures.
Like it.
Let's
Like
say
the logic.
that.
Flop.
I
like the logic.
I
Flop.
want to put Tonali in there, absolutely. So again, Onana, Tonali, absolutely.
Tonali?
Yeah, just
No,
because.
you don't think that.
And then yeah,
I'd say I'm worried about him. I wouldn't say we're on fraud watch just yet
Who?
or anything like that. Tonali, I'm a little bit. But you've got to give him time. Coming from the Italian league, 8 games
Hold
into
on.
it.
If we're suggesting Tonali on fraud watch, surely we're putting Mount on fraud watch, no?
nah, he's not on fraud watch.
No, he's been injured. He's been injured.
He's injured.
Do you know why?
Tonali's been injured.
injured.
Well, let's talk about all these 100 million players that Chelsea are brought in that midfield.
Go on
What
then,
about
go on
them?
then.
What-
Go on then. Which ones?
what's
Which
going on
ones?
there?
Which ones? Because
Which
I've got
ones?
them all in good signings. Caicedo's been class.
What about
Everyone's going to
Gusto?
go, what about West Ham?
What about what's his name? Gusto.
Gusto's
Not-
Did you sign him this summer or
Wasn't
last
signed
year?
this summer. Wasn't
Last
signed this
year.
summer.
That's the
Sorry,
problem with
not
him. So
eligible.
good.
We're going to suggest
Can't
a load
keep
of
up.
players, and they're going to go, we got him on January.
So they're just flopped.
That's a good impression of me as well.
In general.
But the first thing, because I was
Caicedo looks sick.
thinking, I'm not saying Enzo's not a good player, right?
But we got to
I've
look at
been
him.
watching him lately.
We
going,
gotta watch
where's
him.
his
Fraud
goals
what?
and assists coming
Is
from?
he edging towards it? Or
I think Maguire's got more assists than him.
Harry Maguire's got more assists,
And
yeah.
Johnny Evans as
Yeah.
well.
is he edging?
McTominay has got 2 goals more than him this season.
Yeah.
Got a lot more Premier League experience. Of course they are.
Is that what we're doing?
Let's talk about if we're going to put one nail on it, for me, the wages for Havertz is the worst.
Yeah,
Onana, I'm like,
He's close.
you're playing worse than Havertz, but Havertz isn't even playing.
Yeah.
So how can I even
yeah.
like? Arteta's dropped the lad after like 5 games or whatever. Like, it's
and
already
he was playing. He was playing every game.
Yeah.
Wasn't good.
Gave up on him.
When I said about the potential thing to come good, look, Eric Ten Hag said he could be one of the best goalkeepers in the world. I don't believe that. But then again, when you weigh up the potential to come good out of Onana and Havertz, I think Onana probably...
Yeah.
You think so?
Probably has way more potential of coming good. I do not think Havertz will ever arrive.
And I also think Onana coming into a team which has been struggling across the board right now. No one's really pulling up trees over there. De Gea not being that good, so he hasn't.
Basics. He's got to save it though.
I know. But with Havertz, you're coming into a team that was flying. He's poor.
Taking the piss.
Nah, he's poor.
I'm not coming on this show. I'm not coming on this show to deal with this.
No, he's been poor.
Absolutely.
Is there hate
He's been poor.
Le Pack fingers.
That was a hilarious one. But Havertz is coming to a team that's like been flying and added nothing.
But Onana's literally
No, that's
cost
so
them
true.
points in games.
Of course, but he's in a struggling side. Whereas
in a
Havertz,
position.
you're in a flying team and you make them worse.
You
They
can't
would've
make
got
a
a draw.
mistake as goalkeeper,
They-
though, right?
Yeah.
You will. Like,
shows.
By
Havertz
the way-
can be hidden away in that midfield.
And that's what I was going to say. As a goalkeeper, when you make a mistake, there's nowhere to
there.
hide. When you're Havertz, you could just kind of like ghost in the game and
Hide by an
It's-
odor.
it's-
But Declan Rice hasn't hid in that midfield. Declan Rice has come in and he's been taking the game by the scruff of the neck.
That's
a lot
my
of the
point.
time.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly,
Havertz is like 65
Well, he's
mil,
not even
300
playing.
grand a
Let's
week.
talk about best. So sorry.
The worst.
Who was the worst? 'Cause
It's
for me,
Kai Havertz.
Havertz. Okay.
Havertz.
We got
And Onana close second.
Onana's
Very
pushing
close.
him all the
Photo
way.
finish. It's photo finish. It's a photo finish.
It really. Okay, best signing so far. Madison.
And Postecoglou.
Is it Madison?
Well, I think I don't think it's the foregone conclusion.
It's not a foregone conclusion.
None
He's
of
the
these
front
are.
runner. I would say James Ward-Prowse would be right up there. I think James. I think
I
James.
like
I think,
get out of here.
no, I do. I think James Ward-Prowse would
Come
be
on,
right
let
up there.
him have a... Yeah.
James Ward-Prowse, you look at his numbers when it comes to goals and assists so far this season. He's come into a midfield where there's a massive Declan Rice-shaped hole in that midfield, and a lot of people are saying, how are they going to get over losing Rice? They look better.
All right, but can I
They
say
look
something?
better.
Can I say something? Jay Ward-Prowse, fair enough. Cool. Tottenham are top of the league right now.
Yeah.
It's got to be, man.
After 8 games. Undefeated. Madison is top with assists right now, I believe, with 5 assists
Yeah.
in the Premier League. And he's played balls
It's gotta be mad.
that have been match-winning assists. Like, it's not even... We're talking like game-changing
James Ward-Prowse,
contributions.
6 games, 11 chances created,
Yep.
2 goals, 3 assists.
Okay,
How
okay.
is that
West
not?
Ham.
How is
At
that
West
not?
Ham.
How is that
Where
not
are they?
right?
Where are
West
they?
Ham.
Yeah, but how is
At
that
West
Where
not
are they?
right
Where
up
are
there?
they?
At
Like,
West Ham.
Madison's been
And where
brilliant,
are
but
they?
James Ward-Prowse has to
At
be in the
West Ham.
conversation. He has
I
to.
just said that. I just said
My
I'd give him
favourite
that.
tweet
Yeah,
yesterday was James Madison could find space in a phone box with Gemma Collins.
Oh,
I think you could, though.
I'm done. That's enough.
It is.
wow.
Cleared the room out, lads. He's
Yeah.
cleared the room
Wow.
out.
It just is the.
No, shout out Gemma because she's a big watcher of the channel.
Yeah.
How much was
Big
James
love.
Ward-Prowse?
Big love.
How much was he?
She's got a lot on her plate.
Who, James Ward-Prowse?
Someone's
Yeah,
literally done
30
an
odd
AI
million, 35.
picture. Someone's literally done an AI picture of him answering the phone in the box with her. I don't know how that.
It's good.
How that works.
I think we got to shout out Szoboszlai
Yep.
at Liverpool. I think
Yeah.
he has
Oh,
been
yeah.
very, very good
Very
as well.
good.
Slapped some brilliant goals in, and that midfield, that regeneration that they've had at Liverpool has been immense. Like that has carried their team.
Yeah.
That's why they're right up there. So I think you've got to shout him out. And also McAllister, 30 odd million from Brighton, very good
Can
player.
I
for
put in
them.
a dark horse? Everyone's going to get annoyed.
Johnny
about this.
Evans.
Cole Palmer. No, honestly, I'm
Mate,
being
you
deadly.
fucking
No, I'm
Chelsea
being
lot, man. You're
deadly
taking the
serious.
piss.
Cole
Taking the piss.
Cole Palmer
Taking the piss.
has been magic since he's come in.
taking the
Like
Fucking
literally.
beating the worst teams known to man, and all of a sudden, Cold Palmer's that guy.
I love
Hey,
Even though
there's going to
Johnny
be like
Evans
2
is
people in the chat that agree with me.
Johnny Evans is a new signing.
Hold on, I just got mad at that. Cole-
He meant it, Joey. He meant it as well. He was like,
a new
Johnny Evans,
signing.
we
You know
want
what?
it.
The saddest thing is, Johnny Evans might actually end up keeping his place in that fucking back four. Like
Yeah,
that,
it's
that's
mental.
how. Like Martinez and Varane have been so shit this season. He might actually be better.
Can I also say Diaby at Villa has been very, very
Yeah.
good as
Yeah,
well.
fair.
I think he's been quality.
If I was to go outside of Madison, I'd go Szoboszlai would be my second.
No, what's that kid
Ahead
that's
of-
playing in that midfield with in the Spurs midfield?
Saar.
No, but he's
Why
not
is he-
re-signed
No,
him
but
last
Suma's not
season.
a new
yeah.
signing.
Wow.
He
No,
was-
but Van der Ven?
Yeah, Van der Ven's been
Quality.
good. But then I think you're
We're
going
talking
on to that.
defenders.
What about the
if we go-
goalie?
Yeah, Goalie's been
Vicario
good as well.
He's been good.
But Van der Ven, for me, he's transformed. We had Sanchez, Dyer, they've been hot. I think Van der Ven's better than Romero.
He's been
Honestly,
really good. I like
he's our best defender. That's how I rate him.
I'm
right
annoyed
now.
that I'm not able to say a Newcastle player in any of this. Because like, the players who've carried us just haven't been the one. Like we've signed a lot of backup players. You know what I mean?
Gordon's not.
Harvey Barnes has been all right.
Harvey Bonds got injured.
Out for months.
He's badly injured, unfortunately. I look at Harvey Bonds 35 million and Tonali like 60 million. I'm like, God, 100 million. What could we have done with that?
And then Madders 40.
Mate, it's horrendous.
40.
We tracked him for 2 fucking years, mate. It kills me.
26 in his
absolutely
prime.
kills us. It absolutely kills us.
Disgusting
I
that
can't
he's
fucking
just-
believe it.
And I liked his attitude in that North London derby. Like,
Oh, he was up about
he
it,
was
wasn't he?
up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate them just as much as he hated them on that game, and I thought it was brilliant.
I'll tell you someone no one said. Sorry,
Well-
just thinking Hoyland. Hoyland's look good. I'm not saying he's
Ooh,
going to
he
be up
almost
there with
scored a
anyone like
hat-trick.
Madison or anything like that, but we've gone into talking
He
Van
almost
der
scored a
Ven, dark
hat-trick.
horses,
He does
people
look
like
like a
that.
good sign.
Hoyland look. We've
He's
got to
good.
give him credit because we give him enough.
He's-
whatever the opposite
No,
credit
no,
is.
he looks-
you
Criticism.
guys let him down so badly.
We let him down.
It's horrendous, mate.
should have scored a
Everyone
hat-trick.
should have apologised to that guy.
Did you see his face? We look so sad, and I feel sorry for him. But then I want to put these players in, but we can't just yet.
No, he
right?
sums
Onana let him
up for
down.
that though. Like I think everyone in the Premier League is watching him, going, "Well, you might be."
He's
a beast."
full of energy, and it's the
I'm
it's
hoping we
the, it's
stick
the
a bid in
energy
for him.
with the what do you call it? It's the way he's a good striker.
But the way
He's
he
like
runs.
old school. He
Mate.
can step back, run into.
He's like
he
that old
loves
school
that.
Alan Shearer, Andy Cole
He loves
profile.
it.
He
Like,
actually looks
it's so
better on
rare.
the eye than
Amanda
Haaland
Brohan.
as well.
Yeah. He
Haaland's a bit of a robotic. Like we know he delivers Haaland.
That's what scares the
But
shit out of
Haaland
me.
looks
I'm like,
nice.
you're going to
Yeah,
dig Ten
I
Hag
like
out of this
him.
mess, aren't you,
I
you
love
little
him.
bastard?
I love him.
See this coming. Ten Hag will be shit tactically, shit in
He
every
ain't
way,
gonna be
and
shit.
Hoyland's just going to keep
I hope
banging
your manager
goals
gets
in.
sacked. I
He's
hope
on
your
it.
manager
coming.
gets. I hope your manager
Mate,
gets sacked.
you're on
Mate,
Ten
I hope your
Hag.
man-
I've
mate,
seen it every week. You're
Every
on it.
week, I
You're
hope your
on it.
manager gets sacked. I really do, bro.
That's the thing,
can't
right?
wait
The
for it, bro.
the kickoff members, the gang have clocked as well that you're on him. They've clocked Brian. They know you're on him.
It's disgusting. He puts so much pressure on Ten Hag.
Mate, I love it though because I seen this coming before everyone, but I have to say it brought back memories the other day. I'm going to get on this. We're just about to kick off the second half here.
see Martinelli.
The David Beckham documentary.
Yeah, he's on.
It refreshed my memory all over again about Newcastle
And
losing
how
in the
much
FA
chaos.
Cup final in the '99 year, which was the biggest year of David Beckham's career, arguably. And did you? I mean, I'm not sure how many of you have seen the Beckham documentary, but I personally. I loved it. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
It
incredible.
really made me remember how great the '90s were and the early 2000s and that era of football where it wasn't as politically correct as it is these days, and you had characters like Sir Alex and Roy Keane and that. What did you make of it, Craig?
I thought it was incredible. I've watched all 4 episodes. I actually binged them. Yeah, I just think for the younger generation that didn't get to actually see David Beckham play, I think it's beautiful for them to see that, see how good Manchester United were, because they'll hear all the stories about it, the trouble and stuff. But if you didn't actually grow up seeing that, this documentary just gives you a bit of idea of how much of a family they were, how close Sir Alex Ferguson was to David
He was
Beckham.
their dad, right?
He brought him in at like 13. An amazing part in the documentary, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but like,
Spoiler alert.
I mean, these are kind of facts that have been out
Go
there
for
anyway, innit? But it's like, he brought him in when he was like 12, 13, when he wasn't even playing, and had him around Steve Bruce, didn't he, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
And just had him, Steve Bruce would say, Fergie had him just standing in the changing room watching us like get ready, and they'd be like, who's this kid? Why is he even in here? And he'd be standing there with his blazer. So he saw early on how talented he was, and he had that kind of like father-son relationship with him. And then just seeing how he was ahead of his time, just in every aspect, how he branded himself, the fact that he wanted to go multiple leagues and knew that would expand his fan base if he goes, Spain, then Italy, then LA. He was just a trailblazer, man. I think, and just seeing that Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, the admiration they had for him as a player as well, because I think his celebrity, people look at him too much as a celebrity and it overshadows actually how good he was as a footballer.
And as a person, he come across as a real great bloke in this documentary, and I know that that's the point of it, right?
And he was close to tears a couple times.
But yeah, emotionally, I'm like, you're all right, you, and actually realise like what you went through. Like, there's some great human moments, like with Roy Keane, where he talks about Beckham being the first one to turn up in like the hot car, and he goes, "Well, he certainly made a difference at the car park." And, like,
Yeah, I was dying.
and like. He basically got an Adidas boot deal and spent the entire 50 grand on a new car.
Yeah.
Like he
kept spending all his money. Every time he got money, he spent
it was so good. And one of the main things that hit me was we talk nowadays about cancellation, trial by media, and the fire that people are put through on social media. And obviously that wasn't the thing back then. But trial by the mainstream media was. And the way David Beckham was hung out to dry after the World Cup when he got sent off, and particularly what Glenn Hoddle did to him. Glenn Hoddle, rather than shouldering a young player, because people forget Bex was like 22, 23. He was a kid. He was a kid when he got sent off. No wonder he did a hot-headed thing. He was a kid, right? Glenn Hoddle literally went, well, he's cost me.
Yeah, that's what he did.
At full time, when you go back and watch the interviews, you're like, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah, well, he's done it now.
And what made that even worse, Brian? He got sent off, but we went to penalties, so we still had a chance to go through, and he just blamed the whole thing on Beckham.
And what was mental is I remember being a young kid and kind of being influenced by what I was saying and thinking, Becks is a fucking this, that, and the other as a kid.
Papers played a big role as well.
On Huddle's behalf, though, that's just deflection.
Oh, it was though, and they absolutely hammered him. Like in the Beckham family, they made it clear we fucking hate this guy because you think you got a young player. Like, to be fair to Southgate, I give him a lot of shit, but the way he's handled young players, in terms of looking after them, improving relationships within the squad, and being just like overall more of a dad-like figure. But Hoddle was terrible with him. It was shocking. And he was actually apparently reached out to, do you want to be in the doc and give your opinion? And he said, no.
And when you look at how, obviously rightly so and fair enough, but when you look at how much after Euro 2020, some of the criticism that our players came under and some awful things that happened and whatever, how much it affected a lot of the players. And in that situation, who were actually sort of on their side was the media. Do you know what I mean? The media in that case were sort of...
And Southgate helped that.
Yeah, exactly. So to be in a situation where people are burning shirts of David Beckham or whatever, and, there was literally a witch hunt against David Beckham, to have the strength of character to be able to come back from that it just shows the resilience.
It hits you when you watch the documentary. I don't think you've watched it yet, kid.
No, not yet.
The level of depression he was clearly under.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching it because I've had depression, and I'm watching going, he should have been on medication. Two ways about it. He was so...
He was
low.
and you know what?
They were burning it in the streets. They were saying...
Hanging
they were spitting
dolls
on him. They were spitting on him as he
Chasing
walked.
his car.
Like, it's weird, man.
And that's what it was interesting as well because let's wait, hold on, what's going on here? No. It was interesting as well because you said, we've been through cancellations, and like even for me it was hitting home a little bit more because obviously I was doing the England stuff, and I remember when I was doing the England stuff, and then the whole Liverpool stuff happened and papers were writing stuff about me, obviously nowhere near on David Beckham's level. Do you know what I mean? But I could relate to it in
even
that
when you had a
sense where
taste
it's
of it,
it's not nice. But then I was looking at it like when it was happening with me, the worst was just social media. I was getting abuse on social media. But when I walked out in the street, no one cared. Like, I'd never got any abuse in the street.
Yeah.
This guy was walking the street and couldn't go nowhere and was getting abused. I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Like, the internet's one thing, but actually walking out your house and everyone doesn't like you, then you got to step onto the pitch and you'll just get that first game they showed against West Ham. Horrible when he pulls up on the coat.
Months it was like that.
And
you could see he was like... Because when you go through something like that, it changes the way you view people.
Yeah.
You never go back.
Everyone.
You will never ever look at general public the way you did, because you have this notion in your head of people are just good generally, and some people have bad experiences, but you have this you want to think good of people, but it puts a mark on the way you view people after that. You're like, fucking hell, this world is horrible.
I hate to get into boxing, but that we saw that with AJ. AJ's just a different person. Since he's had his little moment. So it just happens with David Beckham, though. One thing I will say is that, when you talk about mental health and all these other things, that is like the main topic, and he dealt with something really serious. And that fortitude, because sometimes I don't think these modern day players can even take light critique. It's light critique. It's like, it's the worst thing ever. You hear about when the things with Maguire, you hear about even the Jadon Sancho thing. Guys, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. But one thing I can say about Beckham and even Victoria after watching that documentary, they love the spotlight, though.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted that kind of spotlight on them.
They created
and that
the
pressure.
problem as well.
I know once they had the kids, they were a bit more, which naturally you're going to be a bit more, want to be private and stuff like that. But they really loved the fame aspect of it.
Absolutely.
That David Beckham always brought the attention to himself, changing his hair.
That's why Fergie wanted rid of him.
He was getting sick of it.
Fergie didn't want rid of Becks because he wasn't good enough. You don't drop.
But that was also why Hoddle had a problem with him as well, though. That was why Hoddle had a problem with before the World Cup incident.
I think Hoddle was jealous of him. I think Hoddle. There were stories of Glenn Hoddle, right, where he'd be in training and he was still young. He was like a young. So he'd get on the football pitch and he'd be more technically gifted than most of the team.
Yeah.
So he'd look at Beckham and think, "You fucking little flash bastard." And I think that there was an element of jealousy there.
There was.
Talking about some of the other things that were in the doc, obviously the cheating thing on Victoria. You seen Victoria left him alone in Spain. She was busy doing her thing, and Rebecca Lewis was on hand and everything else, I would imagine.
Moving loose.
And The interesting thing was when he got the thing that really made me respect him. He got dropped at Real Madrid by Fabio Capello, and he was like, "You're never going to play for Real Madrid ever again." You think to yourself, what would modern day footballers do? What would Jadon Sancho do? He'd be on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Beckham turned up first thing every morning, trained his balls off, and all of the Real Madrid players go to Fabio Capello and go, "How are you, man? Let him train with her." Then he starts training with him again, proves himself. Then Capello's job's under threat. He starts Beckham, and Beckham helps them on the way to a La Liga title.
Yeah.
And that's the strength of character, that when you're a footballer, and I'm convinced Scott McTominay watched that as a player who's on the fringe at Man United, was out the door in the summer if he wanted to at West Ham, and thought, fuck it. And when you look at him the other day, tracking back against Bayern Munich, and I use that term loosely because he was so lazy, and then look at the comparison between the man possessed that was sent on. You could see David Beckham's life it switched. It was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm at Man United here. I've got a chance to do something. So that's how powerful that documentary was, I think. And the director was a little bit much. He was inserting himself a lot. He was doing a lot.
He was doing too much. One of them said, someone sitting in front of the camera, one of the guests, I can't remember who it was, made a joke, and he was like, "Oh, that's funny, huh? I might put you in my next film." Do you remember when he said that? And I was like, oh.
But the thing that hit me is how bad the MLS was when he went over. It was a Sunday league. Like, we had David Beckham playing Sunday league.
Landon Donovan's a hater, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's a hater.
What did he say? What did he say?
Bro, if there's ever anyone needs a trip to Turkey, it's Landon Donovan, mate.
Basically, he was upset that Beckham joined and there was this whole hurrah around him, obviously, because he was such a celebrity. And then he decided remember he wanted to go to Milan for a little while. And he just went Milan. And then while he was in Milan, he was like, "Actually, I want to make this permanent." And then Landon Donovan was like, "How dare you just come here?" And then he slated him basically to the public, to the press and everything, and said, "You basically used us, and then now you just want to go back to Milan."
Landon Donovan should have just gone Milan, shouldn't he? Oh, no, he wasn't good enough, no.
Nah.
But the funny thing is he created an atmosphere where when Bex came back to the MLS, they were booing him because they believed Landon, you're our guy, you're here every week. Where the fuck is this guy?
He apologised though, didn't he?
So, question for the table generally. How good was the Because obviously you romanticize a player when you're watching a documentary on Netflix and they show all the great free kicks and all of that. But in terms of how good was he by comparison to today's footballers? Where would we rank him in today's game?
I think he would obviously be right up there, but I do think that one of the
Why
things...
obviously though?
Absolutely.
No, I'm just trying to come at it from an objective point of view.
From watching Beckham, do you know...
Ref!
How is that not a goal? Where's the goal? Why is that not a goal?
He was pulled back.
Yeah, but why? Where was the advantage? Where was the advantage, ref? Where was the advantage?
He'd already blown
Where was the advantage?
I can only assume he's already blown up.
Look at this.
If he's still going,
he's done his job. Get off me.
He gets up straight away. He wasn't down for a period of time.
Already turned.
But the players had turned round, so the whistle must have gone, I would imagine.
But he's not even fully down. Like, he gets back up.
This is great play. But
he handballs it, and then the players switch off.
And then he starts pulling his...
Sorry, in comparison to today's players, where would we rank him? Like, who's above him? Who's below him?
Okay, so I don't think you're ever going to rank him anywhere near the same level as we have Messi, Ronaldo, people like that at. But I do think when you look at maybe the likes, and I know it's different positionally, but players that we would put as top quality, but just below them, like Kevin De Bruyne, like a Mo Salah, someone like that. I think in today's game, you would rate him at about that level. I think that he's shown time in, time out, he's a big game player. And the one thing I would say that goes against Bex in a way, right, is like, when he went abroad, okay, like the internet wasn't as big then. So now, whereas like Harry Kane will play for Bayern Munich and we've got access to be able to see it, we've got apps, we've got the internet, we've got everything. I'm not saying no one could see La Liga, but like, I remember when I was a kid, if you wanted to watch La Liga, you had to watch it on the TV. So if you weren't in and whatever and you missed the game, you might be able to somehow get highlights. But a lot of what he did wasn't in our sort of conscious mind unless it was in the Champions League.
But we
got
to talk about even what he did at Man United. And you lot know that if David Beckham, if we get a corner, like near the end of the game, David Beckham falls to him, it's a goal.
Where do you rank his passing level? Because the only thing about what you said there is you mentioned Mo Salah and De Bruyne.
Corners.
But if we're talking numbers, he doesn't compare to Salah and De Bruyne. If we're just talking pure numbers,
but the game is.
I understand that. I'm just trying to put. Like, there'll be people who are watching this
big moments,
not on Mo Salah's level.
David Beckham, in terms of what he done in a Man United shirt, we knew we needed him. He was a big way of how we played. Again, when you talk about the wing play, it's David Beckham.
All right, so wingers, let's talk wingers.
Yeah.
Saka. That was good. Better.
Saka's better than David Beckham?
No, I'm asking.
Nah, come on.
Who's better?
Too early
David
to say.
Beckham.
I know it's
Too early
early. I know it's early.
By David
But
Beckham. Until Saka
Go
does,
on.
there's so much for Saka to do before he can even have that.
Go on.
oh, Phil Foden scuffs it,
Yeah,
and that was a
fucked
real
it.
chance for
He
Phil
fucked it.
Foden.
Yeah,
he
he couldn't
messed
take
up.
it in his stride.
You wanted it to fall
Don't
to Haaland
shoot.
there.
Do not shoot.
You wanted it to fall to Haaland there.
What I'll say is, though, can I just say something? Watching that documentary, the quality of football in the 90s is so much below today, though.
Yeah.
I'm being real. Like, just watching how the ball was popped around, the pace of it.
It's slower, for
It's
sure.
slower. They're not as much athletes. Like, you could just see them drowning in their kits, very skinny
But
and
will
not in shape.
would these players be able to play in that era?
Of course. I
don't
think
know.
so, because
I
they're
don't
more
know.
athletes.
What, in terms of
but
the
then
physicality?
What are you talking about? The mental side or the physical side?
physicality
Yeah, the
and
physical side.
everything
Yeah,
that's-
I think the players today are way much bigger units and
Do you
stronger
not
than
think
back
that
then.
a lot of that's down to diet and coaching, though? That's not
man,
that's
I
not
think the
circumstances
physicality-
that we can.
I think some of these guys mentally are weak.
Yeah, but
I
that's
think
what I
some of
just
these
asked
guys-
you, physically or mentally.
Both. I'm thinking both of those.
Physically, they're
just
way
imagine
stronger, the
these
players
players
today.
getting up against prime Vieiras and prime Roy Keanes and that.
Yeah,
They're gonna they're hiding.
What about the David Beckham debate? We're talking. Who's he better than though? I'm trying to get a
Better
feel.
than
not
Ryan
think-
Giggs.
He's better than Giggs. I'll agree.
Yeah.
with
Wait, why you keep just saying Man United players? Let's name some of
that.
the
But modern day players.
Do you
that's
not think
I'm
that he
great.
might be like a right wing back in the modern era? Do you not think we should be comparing him against like
What, like a
someone like
Trent?
Trent? Yeah.
Are you lot
No, but seriously, no. If you compare him to like the modern style of football and where head be fit, like say for
'cause
instance
they're
he
all
was playing for
inverted
England
wingers
now.
now.
Let's say
I
we're
think
playing
he play
for
more
England.
inside. I think he play in the. I think you play in the.
like a
What,
right
when he
centre
was-
midfielder.
Yeah, he's
In that
playing
prime that we
central.
were watching.
I think he's picking up De Bruyne positions.
Yeah, but he was doing that for Real Madrid behind Figo, and it
He was
wasn't
a winger.
working.
He was
Remember?
an out and out winger. He was. You want him hugging the byline and crossing it in. Surely,
But
at
then
the end
could
of his
be-
career,
he's
at the end of
talented,
his career,
you know,
fair enough.
very technical,
Yeah, he's
you
very
know.
technical. But
For
Trent is
me-
very technical.
For me, David Beckham was the best passer of a football I've ever seen.
Ever?
Yeah.
Of course he is.
Nah, he's not better than Xavi, man. Not for me.
Yeah, what I mean
look
is
at the name that you
what
have
I
to
mean is
He said
specific-
ever.
Look at the
He
name
said
you have to
ever.
drag
I
out.
know Xavi and Iniesta are great passers of the ball and playmakers, but what I mean is from distance, if
Oh,
you
from
said
distance,
give him a
okay.
ball and he has to hit that from
Deadpool
distance,
special.
Yeah.
I'd put my money on Beckham above
special.
most players in it. But in terms of like when you watch his game against Greece, you're like big game player, big moment. He could score free kicks like more regularly than most
anyone.
players ever could. He's set
Only
pieces.
Janino.
Even Paul Scholes was a great long distance.
Only
runner.
Paul Scholes is. I sat nav.
He was a joke as well.
Yeah.
His corners were basically
I think what
like
happens,
cheating.
what I think with David Beckham, because of his celebrity went so high, people forgot how good of a player he is.
Yeah.
He's actually
Yes.
quality. He's a really good player, and he had the mindset, and he could fight. So you could tell that we were affected when he left. It's a big way the way he played. I think Van Nistelrooy was upset that we sold David Beckham, and then he got benched by the manager because like, no, you're not going to do that.
Ironically, he followed him to Real Madrid.
There you go. You wanted that delivery.
He's full of
You need the
golden
service.
balls.
Is he in your like all-time England 11
Absolutely.
in the 4-4-2 formation? You would put him as the right mid.
He's in my Man United all-time 11 as well, on the right. So
A lot of people think he
Over
was
Ronaldo?
robbed of the
Absolutely.
99 Ballon d'Or, right? A lot of people
Absolutely.
said he should have had the Ballon d'Or in
Absolutely.
99. I'm just because we don't really have players like him in the modern game now. He would be. I think Josh is right. His position probably.
Doesn't
We don't
exist
play
anymore.
4-4-2 like for a start.
Yeah.
So and the players who are full out wingers like Saka, they're faster than Beckham.
Yeah.
Beckham probably would have been either a midfielder or a fullback.
and we don't cross it as much as we used to.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're all inverted wingers.
Yeah. So I do think
Football's just changed, but I think a player like that would he'd play more inside in this game, and there'll be players that he could utilize that space of Saka running on the Martinelli's Trossards of this world. Oh.
Do you know what else sort of might bring his accomplishments or the perception of his ability down a little bit? Is like because of the media frenzy around him. Sometimes it's like with boxing. If you get a massive ticket seller, it doesn't always mean they're the best fighter. Do you know what I mean? And I think that sometimes because of the amount of media around him, people will say, right, well, what are you gonna do to be?
Well played,
what a
Chance for
skill.
Arsenal.
well played. Oh my goodness!
a good bit of
Hey,
skill
this
from
Arsenal
Jesus.
team, I'm not gonna
They
lie,
came
they're
second half.
good, you know.
they've come out second half.
Hey, they're good.
First half,
I
they
hear
weren't.
I hear what you're saying, Joey, in terms of the ticket seller thing, because you see in Real Madrid, when Real Madrid would go down, he'd be like, "Fuck me, we're a goal down," and he said, "I'd look at Figo, Ronaldo, and Zidane, and they'd be like,
They'd laugh.
What are you worried about?
We're gonna win."
We're gonna score. Don't worry about it."
That's what
and
he'd
but
say.
he's like, I'm a mere mortal compared to these guys. Like, and I do think that was healthy for him to.
Yeah. He was compared to Zidane. I know that much. I don't know.
Yeah, Zidane for me was the god.
Because when Zidane comes up to him after that game at Old Trafford and he says, "Come to Real Madrid," remember?
Yeah.
And he's like, "I can't believe Zizou just said that to me." Like he swapped
Can you
shirts and said, "Come to Real Madrid." He was gassed.
Do you know a player that I'm really proud of, and I hope he goes down as one of the greatest? Like,
Onana?
I mean, no. I really like what Bellingham's doing at Real Madrid.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's quality.
Wicked.
Yeah, it's quality.
just and the mindset and just the celebration, everything about it right now. It's like. It's fantastic to watch.
No, you know when we talk about Zidane, it's giving those vibes of like, I'm going to be that guy for the next 10 years. Right?
This is mine.
Yeah,
And you know, there's great players, Camavinga, Tchouaméni. There's
Valverde.
And next season, Mbappe probably. So,
absolutely. Maybe, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be, you know.
Like, we're going to have to get him out of Lascelles' back pocket first. But when we find him, we'll give him it.
I don't think he's going to go Real Madrid, though, you know. I don't know. Yeah, I just think with
you think he's
Vinicius,
staying?
because of the way they play now, with Bellingham in an advanced position, and then they're basically playing two strikers up top with Rodrigo and Vinicius. It's like, who comes out?
Man City are making changes.
Rodrigo.
We got Pep
Vinicius
Guardiola
ain't gonna
here.
just come out. Vinicius he's up there with Mbappe. They're in the same league. Mbappe might be better, but they're in the same league.
Yeah.
Does Bellingham finish with a better legacy in terms of club and international football than Beckham did?
Nah, come on, man.
Do you not?
Nah.
You serious?
Nah, look at who Beckham
Bellingham
is.
is 20
legacy, as in
Nah.
purely
As in,
footballing. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, purely footballing. Yeah.
What?
Why?
Well, when you
Beckham
look at
just
it,
won the Beckham won the treble.
Beckham won the treble, but Bellingham will win Ballon d'Ors in his career, in my opinion. I also think that
Got to beat
Bellingham,
Haaland and Mbappe.
But he will.
He will.
He will.
I
They
think he
get
will,
listen, Craig. You know as well as anyone, they get shared out
Real
a
Madrid
little
tax.
bit. Do you know what I mean? Like they do get shared out a little bit. He'll finish his career Ballon d'Ors. People will laugh at this. I do genuinely believe Bellingham will finish his international career with a trophy. And obviously, when you say about Man United treble, he'll do similar sort of stuff in Spain. So whether you regard Spain as being the same as doing it for an English club, there's maybe that. But I'm talking about personal accolades as a football and trophies and whatever.
Yeah,
I would say
he's gonna win
I would
everything.
say that Bellingham does finish with more than Beckham.
Come on, my mixed race brother. Love that, man.
He's 20 years old.
You'd say no then to that?
To what?
To who finishes with a better legacy purely on footballing?
I just think Beckham's legacy, like you're talking of like one of the top footballing, like that's as far as footballing legacies go, he's won
Why couldn't
everything. La
Bellingham?
Liga, he's won multiple
done it.
Premier Leagues, he's won League
won
R,
four leagues. Won-
4 leagues.
Yeah,
Are
Premier-
you including MLS?
Yeah, 4. Yeah.
4 leagues, okay.
He's done
He's done it all, man.
He's had a perfect
You
career.
know the thing I
He's
would
done it
say
all.
that makes me lean towards Bellingham?
career.
I just think, as much as I've just said Beckham was best passer, I think Bellingham is an all-round
He can be
player.
wherever he
I
wants
think
to
he
be.
has. I think
yeah.
if I look at every little weakness that there is in Beckham's game, if there is, like, you know, we're not talking about much here, but Bellingham has all of those bases covered.
And he wasn't
There's
doing this
nothing
at 20. He wasn't doing this at 20. 19, 20.
Beckham was really good at the age of Bellingham now, but he wasn't looking like the best player in the world the way Bellingham is already.
Yeah.
And even at Beckham's peak, he was never considered the best player in the world. Even when he went to Real Madrid and the Galacticos were there, he was seen as, oh, well, you're one of them, but you're certainly not the crown
No, but the
jewel.
footballers back then, though, Brian, were ridiculous.
wait,
We're
so
talking about
I
like,
love
the golden
Ronaldo,
era.
man.
Yeah,
He's my
we're
favourite.
talking
Like
about.
real superstar.
Yeah.
Mate, you seen the size of big Ronaldo now?
Oh,
He's
no,
just a
it's
king
crazy.
and he doesn't give a
Crazy.
fuck. He's like King Henry the
Why is he? Yeah, all of them. They all looked a bit. Roberto Carlos, all of them looked. Figo looked amazing.
Mate,
though.
Figo looks good, doesn't
He
he?
looked amazing. He was in
Zidane and Figo have aged. Zidane looks better looking now that he's shaved off the Friar Tuck haircut off with that little crown.
What's Figo doing these
God
days?
bless.
What's
I
he
don't know.
up
He
to?
just looks rich as hell, man. He
Oh,
just
yeah.
looks like one of them guys in Portugal that's just like, I'm the man. Like,
Yeah, it
Roberto
was fun
Carlos
when,
looked like one of Tuco's lot out of Breaking Bad.
yeah.
when they were on about free kicks. Figo,
Did that.
Figo was like, yeah, when they let me take one, I'll take one. But it's between Carlos and Bex pretty much.
He was pissed when Beckham signed low key though.
He was.
Because it was his position. He didn't like it.
Did he move over to the other side?
No, they started playing Beckham behind him.
Oh my god.
He wasn't having any of it. He
incredible.
just gave up his whole Barcelona legacy to go there. You think I'm just gonna let Beckham take my spot now?
Yeah, I know.
Should we talk about the England squad? We've been talking about England a bit there. Gareth Southgate has announced another England squad with yet more players in who are either not playing regularly or
Finish.
come on.
Get a
Anything?
penalty, get a penalty, man.
Foden?
Dive.
Foden? Nah.
I'm joking.
Arsenal have been great value, man.
Yeah, they've
Stop
been
it, man.
I'm sorry, I have to be honest and
Keep it
say
in your
the
head.
truth. They've been really good. Like
Really
second
good.
half,
Why? What they
just what they're doing right now is they're playing with a high intensity, and I
Name
think
me one good opportunity and goal they've had.
Not like a clear, not clear.
It's been
The way
I'm
you're
saying
talking about them
but
is like they've been
I'm
peppering
talking
their
about
goal.
this is Man City though.
they're bringing on John Stones.
This is Man City, so to stop Man City right now. City are struggling. They're like right now. He's getting to the.
They're at home and they're supposed to be title challengers.
Still,
The
though,
elite
it's still
DM, John
City.
Stones, elite DM.
It's still City though, and I think what Arsenal are doing in this game is they're stopping City from playing their game, and I think that they've got a bit more energy. They look like they want it more.
Yeah.
That's the one part, and you think you got Haaland and Alvarez. That's the cheat code really, and Foden they can't find
Coming
the
off.
space.
Is he coming off?
There you go.
for Doku.
Another problem
Wow.
now. Oh, and they still got Grealish on the bench if they want to, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Doku's
something has to
coming
happen.
on. Doc, this is a baller right here.
Mate,
Yeah.
if you're Arsenal fan, you're terrified.
This is a baller right here.
I don't know nothing about him.
Mate,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Baller.
He looks like
Fast.
the
This
real
is a
fucking
baller.
deal on the wing.
Yeah.
He'll rip you to shreds, mate.
This is a baller.
What he is to me is the replacement long term for a player like Mahrez, like someone who
Yeah.
can just.
Is he as good as Mahrez?
Well, to say
he
that
be
now
as
is a lot, but I
You lot
think
just
he's
said
a real
Bellingham can
threat.
be as-
He's terrifying.
He's stronger
Okay.
and quicker.
Yeah.
But maybe technically
Not
first
as
touch,
good.
things like that.
Yeah.
He can finish as well. He's a good player.
Sorry,
what-
going back to the England squad, Gareth Southgate he's pulled out all the stops again. He's gone for his old favourites. Who are the most questionable we're looking at in the
lost that
squad, do you
battle.
think,
I've
John?
got 6 or 7 that I think are relatively controversial, right? So you've got Sam Johnson in goal. We'll talk about some goalkeeper options in a
deserves it.
second. You've got Harry Maguire as a controversial one for UKG.
Not anymore.
You've got Conor Gallagher, maybe, Jordan Henderson, Calvin Phillips, Jared Bowen, and I've got Eddie Nketiah as the last questionable one.
Take him on again.
Do we agree with all of those being questionable?
It depends who you're specifically saying that they are there potentially in the place of.
Okay, I can go because
Yeah.
I think Calvin Phillips apparently has 2 starts in the last 17 months in the Premier League. You've then got Jordan Henderson, who's a glorified Saudi ambassador right now doing his TikToks. And then from Newcastle, and I'm not saying that, Sean Longstaff is the most gifted player in the world, but when you look at what he's brought in Newcastle this season and last season, he's a top 4 player, starter. He's literally playing in the Champions League week in, week out. He's made a massive difference to our season this season. And yet Calvin Phillips and Jordan Henderson are getting in ahead of him. Like, if you're looking at it, let's say we go to a World Cup, right? For me, if Declan Rice gets injured, you need someone who can do a job, who can come in and sweep up for the likes of Bellingham. Longstaff does that every single week for Bruno Guimaraes. It's
No offence, but it's Ward-Prowse, isn't
It's
it?
Ward-Prowse.
no, but I'm just
yeah.
suggesting.
Yeah.
Either. The fact is, it's certainly not Jordan fucking Henderson and Calvin Phillips.
fair.
But-
so take your pick.
Can I tell you why? Obviously, look, Gareth Southgate will always favour players that have been there with him, been on the journey, done it for him and delivered for England under his tenureship, won't he? Yeah? Where's Sterling? Where is Sterling? If he does that, if he favours players that have done it for him, like Harry Maguire's never put a foot wrong for Gareth Southgate for England. Sterling has done more for England under Gareth Southgate's management than Harry Maguire ever has.
Yeah,
okay,
true.
Sterling has literally been one of our most pivotal players
Is he not in
in
there?
the tournament. Sterling hasn't even been picked. 2 squads running, and you could go, oh, okay,
disgrace.
but at centre back, there's nowhere near as much depth out on the wings. And obviously, yeah, of course, but Jared Bowen in there ahead of Sterling, a lot of players in there ahead of Sterling, and you could go, okay, they've got more potential, maybe at this moment in time. If you're going on
tried and tested.
Gareth Southgate's pretty much actions, and we know he's a walking contradiction, but if you're going on that and you're including Calvin
I
Phillips,
haven't.
Jordan Henderson, Harry Maguire, how on earth can you justify not picking Raheem Sterling to be part of your squad? Fair enough, if you want to bring other players in and bed them in, and maybe Sterling's just there in the camp and he's not going to get that many minutes. It's questionable, but fair enough. But I just don't get how you do that.
We wouldn't want recency bias, though, would we? Do you know what I mean? No, I don't know if you heard that comment about Ollie Watkins, where he's like, "Oh, it's a bit of recency bias." It's like, take your pick. You're, like, what is it with you? You're either picking people based on what happened in 2020, or it's form. But he has these brain farts where you're like, there is no consistency about you. And take Pickford, for example. If you look last season, Jordan Pickford conceded about 24 goals more than Nick Pope. This season, already, just 8 games played, he's conceded double the goals that Nick Pope conceded. Now, I understand that the club you play for does have an impact on that, but still, like, you're constantly leaving out a guy who's outperforming your number one, and he just doesn't fancy him. He also doesn't fancy Dan Burn, and I'm not saying Dan Burn.
And Dan Burn should be in there.
I think Dan Burn should be considered.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
when you're part of statistically, the best Premier League defence last season, and you're an Englishman, well then, and we've got Nick Pope, Dan Burn, Kieran Trippier, week in, week out, as a 3, and not even 2 of them aren't even considered.
Yeah.
That to me is surprisring. Yeah.
We've also got 2 injured left backs as well, which Dan Burn can fill in.
Yeah,
So-
and Dan Burn can play
Burn
left
should-
centre back or left back, you know. And I'm also thinking he's just a good guy to have in the squad to be a part of like a big.
He probably
personality.
deserves it. I think he deserves it as well. We got to be fair and say, give him a look in. Have a look. That before it was so embarrassing because Maguire will get in purely on he knows him. Really.
Mate, if you think Maguire's better than Dan Burn, I don't know what the
say
fuck
that.
Also,
you're
you-
watching.
you-
I do not.
I
I
didn't say
haven't
that.
got
I
a
didn't say
clue
that.
what you're watching.
You're
I didn't say that.
having a look at
Never.
Lewis Dunk. Why would Dan Burn? Lewis Dunk looks
Lewis
good.
Dunk,
Fair enough. But you're having a look at Lewis Dunk. Why would Dan Burn not?
I think there's
qualify
a certain
for-
thing with sexiness about Gareth
Dunk
Southgate.
is sexy.
Yeah, no, but you know, like
No, he's sexy. He is sexy.
Colwell, like
Yeah.
he's a.
Oh,
new-
he's sexy.
No, but he's a new boy, right? He's coming through. But can we look at him honestly and say that he has done so much to deserve his place? I think he's looking. I'm going plays for Chelsea. He's one for the. And
One for the
fair
future.
enough to a degree, but then Anthony Gordon for Newcastle is our best player, arguably this season, not in the squad again.
Can I say the
and I
main
know
one
that there's
for
a lot of
Newcastle?
competition for the
I think
wide
he's got
position.
some Middlesbrough. I think he's got some Sunderland connection.
Yeah.
He just hates you, lot.
I don't know what it is, but like I just feel like, and I understand that there are better players in specific positions than what I'm putting forward here, but there's something about Newcastle where like he went to the PSG game. You're sitting there watching, I don't know, 9 out of the 14 players that took part were all English, and
Good enough, mate.
not interested.
But then when we're looking at Newcastle specifically, the one that I would say the biggest red flag there is Callum Wilson's not included in that squad, is he?
Close him.
No, he's not.
He's not in the squad. Callum Wilson's in there. So let's say, for example, Eddie Nketiah. Nothing against Eddie Nketiah, but Callum Wilson is going to guarantee you more goals than Eddie Nketiah. There's no one in their right mind that can tell me that Callum Wilson, if you can only start one, Harry Kane gets an injury, and I'm not even saying they would be the second choice even, but if you can only put one of them in, Callum Wilson...
It's
Literally,
it's
not.
There's not daylight between them.
No.
I think there is.
It
I think
is.
there is.
It is.
I think
Callum
there's a
Wilson
goal-
guarantees you goals
Callum
over Eddie
Wilson
Nketiah.
was he scored like, I can't remember what it was, but it was something like 18 goals in 20 starts last
Yeah.
season. Like it was something silly. He is in the top 5 strikers in the league. Nketiah is not in my.
But does he
Is it
start
an
for
age
Newcastle?
Unfortunately for him, we have Isak.
Okay, but Nketiah starts for Arsenal. So that's the next argument.
Yeah.
One of them is starting for their club and the other isn't. So you're going to take the one that doesn't start for their club?
I
or-
think that's a good argument, and it is a bit hit and miss between him and Isak. So it's not like I think Isak is the number one
Neither
because
are
he's
gonna
viewed as the
start
next
for
big
England,
thing. But if they're going through on goal, and I got to put my house on anyone, Nketiah ain't even my frame of mind. Like Wilson every time.
all of this hypothetical because King Kane ain't going nowhere
That's what I'm
anyway.
saying, yeah.
He don't miss games.
But if he gets
let's be
injured,
honest.
we just need to have a credible backup who is going to guarantee you that
Yeah.
cool, calm finishing. And Callum Wilson is that.
If we're talking about the Euros, though,
He's overcooked it.
Why?
That backup we're on about
if
isn't
we-
even available for
it's going
Arsenal
to be,
yet,
it's
is
going to
it?
be Tony.
It's going to be
isn't it?
Tony.
It's going to be Ivan Tony.
Win the
Like
squad.
Tony
think-
will get in the squad over Wilson.
Because I personally think Tony, you could argue is marginally better than Wilson, but I think it's a close one as well. I think if you're quoting goals per game, I think it's very close, really close.
Yeah, both of them are quality players. I just think
Yeah.
he fancies Tony more.
But
because
again,
because
with
he's
Southgate,
starting.
it's the
And
sexiness,
I would
right?
also say that Ivan Toney, I really rate Callum Wilson. I'd also say that Ivan Toney probably does a little bit more for the team, the players around him, maybe than Wilson. Just my opinion, though.
I think if you look at goals per game, though, Brian has got a point. Like, Wilson is right up there. And he is
Wilson's goals per
quality.
game
But
ratio,
this is the thing, is
since the beginning of last season, I believe is second in terms of minutes on the pitch. Wilson is second only to
Same
Erling
Erling
Haaland.
He's
incredible.
prolific.
Yeah, so
He
like
is.
we're talking goals per game. Wilson's got every one of these lot beat. That's why I'm just like, what is it about us? I don't know. This
Sunderland.
happened, this happened years ago when Newcastle were a good team.
I think
we
it's
wouldn't
the
get any
Sunderland thing.
players.
I think-
No,
in.
Shearer always got in there.
Yeah, he was.
He had to be great, though.
Yeah,
He had to be
because
like
he
the
was
god.
whiter than white and innocent.
He had to be the god.
Yeah.
And he was prolific.
He was the Hurricane then, obviously.
Good
right?
cross.
I think Arsenal can win this, I don't like
It's
it.
so annoying,
I don't
innit?
like
How are
it.
they
Yeah,
You know
gonna
what's
Because they
nice
just
is
can't
they
get
just
Haaland
put
in the
quality
game.
on as well.
They cannot get Haaland in the game. Like, it's weird.
Is anyone asking questions of Haaland this season so far? Because obviously he hasn't hit the sort of form so far that we saw from him last season.
It's a waste of time, bro.
Do you not think that a lot of this is down to Kevin De Bruyne's injury? Like when we're saying he's not in the game, like the main man is sat there waiting to come back, right? So I think they are a force together.
How far is he away from like returning? Is it
not next year or something like that?
They need Rodri more than him, in my opinion. Anyway, I think Rodri just gives them that base. He drives the ball forward as well.
If I'm Liverpool and Arsenal right now, they should be feeling confident because right now the game is turning a lot and Martinelli looks like the guy that's going to open the things up.
Do you know who this is the best result for? Spurs.
Oh, he's putting the pressure.
This is it.
I wanted a draw. I wanted a draw because we stayed top
yeah.
for the international break. I wanted a draw. They both dropped points. It's beautiful.
I think it's going to be
As
really
long as Arsenal don't win.
It's going to be really interesting to see if anyone does grab this game by the scruff of the neck, because we said before this game, Phil Foden hasn't been trusted enough yet by Pep, despite how great he is in terms of. And there's always this theory about, Phil's a great player, but is he the one who wants to be the main man?
Yeah.
And you need moments to prove that. And I'm not sure this is going to be that moment today. We'll find out.
City are so deep here. I don't think I've seen them be this.
It's only the last 2
defensive.
minutes, though. That they've been deep like that.
But even then,
I think Arsenal, considering they haven't had Saka,
they've looked good today.
Yeah, like if Arsenal had Saka right now, maybe this would be one.
Sometimes though, when a big player is not in the team and the team is forced to play another way, you might get something better from them. Like even with Spurs, that whole thing with Kane not being there, they're forced to be more creative.
Do you see Richarlison yesterday? Yeah,
Horrible.
Man, it was terrible, wasn't it?
Playing like Conte's his manager.
Mate, it's unbelievable how. Like I had my mates in the WhatsApp going, "There is no way this guy is Brazilian. We don't."
He needs to do an ancestry test. He needs to spit in a cup and send it off.
KG, what about a missing man in Italy playing in defence for a big team, Roma? Who would you put in your defence instead of
Smalling?
Chris Smalling?
Yeah.
Nah,
you claimed it the other day. You'd rather have him than Harry Maguire, no?
Yeah, he's better than Harry
would you
Maguire.
rather have him in the squad than Harry?
Better than Harry Maguire. He is.
Do you actually believe
Chris Smalling's
that?
better than Harry Maguire.
You don't
He does.
believe that?
I do. Honestly.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So you'd start him for England over Harry Maguire? Because Harry Maguire starts for England.
Not for England. Harry Maguire shouldn't be anywhere near the England squad. But right now, he's doing all right, and I'm happy with it. So he had a good game yesterday. Long may it continue.
But he's in your backups, people that should be pushing for the squad. Small.
What, for England squad?
Yeah.
Nah, Tomori. I would put it like
Tomori's in there, mate. Tomori's
that's
already
what I'm
in.
saying. He's the one that from the Italian side. But then
I'm so worried that when we talk about the greatness of Bellingham and some of these other talents like Foden and Saka,
Golden generation.
and then, Harry Kane. I know that defensively we're not amazing, but like with Declan Rice in there, we should have more than enough to win a tournament at some point, right?
We will.
And I look at Gareth Southgate and I think
You're not going to
bring
bring us.
fuck it right up, aren't you?
Is he not the
you
guy?
clown?
We'll win one. We've Bellingham in the team over the course of his career.
We
We'll
won't.
definitely win.
We
I
had
hope it's
Rooney.
not Southgate,
We had
because it would
Rooney
be
in
so
there,
annoying
bro.
for me to see a man with such limited ability get that lucky in life where you're almost too dumb to fail.
Do you know what made me laugh the other day? There was a take, I can't remember who said it, but they were talking about the Eddie Howe situation that we spoke about earlier. They were saying how long until he gets moved on from Newcastle because of the ownership and whatever. And I can't remember who it was, but it was on the radio and someone said, well, it might be Howe that leaves first. Other clubs could be in for him, or other teams could be in for him. And someone said, "Well, who's going to go and get an Eddie Howe?" And they went, "England."
Nice.
And I just had to laugh to myself. I thought, as if Eddie Howe is leaving Newcastle to take the England job, straight swap with Gareth Southgate. Though that's the fairest thing.
Shall we talk about that very quickly then? Like, obviously, I think everyone acknowledges that he's going to leave. After the Euros next year.
Southgate.
Southgate's going to leave.
Yeah.
Who do we want as the replacement?
Jose.
Jose Mourinho.
Jose
I would be the
Mourinho.
first to
Jose
say,
Mourinho.
look, it's time. Open your minds, guys. We got to get Emma Hayes in there. It's about time.
Yeah.
Broaden your horizons. Okay?
Fair play.
We got to give a woman a chance. I want to say it.
Is that your
I'm a
honest
fuck.
pick?
Don't be
Okay.
fucking stupid, you dumb.
Yeah.
No, but how disrespectful is that? Yeah, because that is purely. But if she wasn't female, you wouldn't have the chairman of the FA or whoever came out and say it about another male manager, would you? Even Eddie Howe, you wouldn't have the chairman of the FA, whoever said that originally, come out and say, I think he should be a runner for the job afterwards, but. Because it was Emma Hayes, it was all right. Like I thought that was a bit of a.
This, no, in reality, actually, Eddie Howe would be a great option. I wouldn't.
Jose's going to get sacked by Roma soon.
You've got to think about realistic.
I honestly think, right, I don't think, because Eddie Howe's not going to be available in my opinion. So then you go, what, Lampard, Gerrard, Potter? No. The closest we're going to get to an Englishman is Jose. I know he's not English in the slightest, but he's the
But
closest we're going to get.
Still got his
and
house in
he's probably got the best chance of winning us. It might be
He's a
disgusting
cup
football,
manager.
but I don't care.
He's
Exactly.
a cup manager.
Exactly.
If you want to win a cup,
He'll be
that is
brilliant.
what he
I
does.
agree.
I would love to see Chelsea on the top.
You take him in a short burst. They only have to see him 4 or 5 times a year. It's perfect. He won't
can't
annoy
break-
them.
he can't
Do you know what I
piss them
mean?
off,
Yeah,
do
he
you?
won't piss them. You don't see him on a day in, day out. It's a perfect
Are
situation.
we all agreed then?
Yeah,
I think a rogue one could be Thomas Tuchel coming to the end of his Bayern Munich tenure. He only lasts about 2 or 3 years.
not
He
like
leaves
Ronaldo.
us
Ronaldo.
to-
I think he's still a
think
bit too elite. Like,
That
I
would
think
not
there's
work.
more big jobs in football for him, whereas I don't see Mourinho ever landing at another big
But you see
club.
Bayern Munich and their cycles and like the amount of stuff that's going on behind the scenes of that football club. I could see him being out of work, being an open option, and then the FA just going, he's probably the most qualified person to take the role.
So the first thing is I don't think they're paying him money that he'd probably want. But exactly like you said, he could be out of work. But I just think like there's more big jobs in football for him after that Bayern Munich
I
role.
wouldn't be surprised if they went for another Southgate-esque type appointment, like a young, likeable.
Could be
yes
Holland.
man.
Gonna Could be Holland,
No,
couldn't it?
it's going to be Potter.
What?
Like the easiest choice is Potter.
Potter's
It's
really
easily
hurt
going to
his
be him.
legacy now.
It's
What about
easily gonna
Michael
be him.
Carrick or someone like that?
No.
He's struggling.
Exactly. Just like Southgate.
What, we just
did.
only go for ex-borough bosses? No, no,
Yep.
no way.
Why are we so
Did you
quick to
struggle
write
with
off
Borough?
Potter?
You're in.
The feeder club.
Yeah.
Why
Why
we-
are we quick to write
why-
off Potter?
Yeah.
Because Jose will be there. Come on, I'm actually being serious now. I know it just sounds like a stupid take, but we're quick to write off Potter because Jose would be there. That would probably be at that point in his career the biggest sort of job he could go for and get.
I agree.
And it would be a job where like
It makes too much sense,
Jose,
mate.
it's like boxers that thrive on a bit of love from the public. I honestly do think Mourinho would get that
He would love
as
it.
England
He would
boss.
love it.
He'd love it. He'd thrive on it. It would be the redemption arc. He'd be the hero to us, the
And then,
villain to others.
imagine he actually won a trophy with
my
England. It would be.
goodness.
It put him in a
Statue.
different light from these other
I
managers.
hate to do this, but I have to. Do you know why it would work for him? Because he always talks about Sir Bobby Robson and how he made him a football manager, and now he'd be like, "I'm here to finish what Sir Bobby did."
Oh, I don't
got
like this.
to-
I don't like this. I
I've
don't
got
like
to-
it. I don't like
Surely.
it. I don't like it. Get out.
Oh, I've got to give some shouts from the chat. There's a couple of options that we need to discuss. The options are Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, good
don't
one.
hate-
DC just let him go. No.
But
come
I
on.
think we need to bear in mind one thing: the
no,
FA love a yes man, and they love Mr. Squeaky Clean, who will do whatever they.
Definitely not
And
Rooney.
I don't know if Rooney's that yes
He
man.
can't be that squeaky.
Yeah, I like Rooney for the rogueness.
The odds bookie's favourite is Graham Potter, and then the second is Lee Carsley at 8-1.
Jesus Christ.
They're scraping the barrel, these lot, aren't they? Jose is like right down there. He's not even, Brendan Rodgers. Everyone's
Is Ancelotti going to be out of work by that time?
You know what it is
Yeah,
with the
Brazil-
foreign manager
Brazil
thing.
job.
I think they very much would like an English manager, and I know this sounds like a bit of a weird take, but I'm just saying he's the closest to an English manager that I think you could get away with. It's like he's a household name. Everyone knows
He'll play
Mourinho.
the English brand of football.
Yeah.
really.
Do you know what's the weird thing about England managers is once upon a time, becoming England manager was something you earned through being a great club manager.
Yeah, right.
Bobby Robson is a case in point. He went and he won European trophies with Ipswich, and then he managed the likes of PSV, Barcelona, and that. Like he had a great reputation, and now it's like we can't possibly think about giving it to a top manager. We'll give it to someone who's yet to prove themselves. It's so weird. Like Gareth Southgate, what he did before becoming an manager was nothing.
Well, he didn't get Borough relegated in his first full season.
Oh, why did you say this? Why have you done that?
Well,
why did you do that?
Nothing.
Why?
Nothing.
There's a
nothing,
goal coming.
Nothing.
There's a- no,
nothing.
I'm
Nothing.
fuming.
Nothing.
Oh no
Wait for
way!
it.
Here we
No
go.
way!
Tommy Yasu.
It's not.
It's Kai Havertz.
No way!
No way.
Oh, and Arsenal have scored! It's Martinelli.
I thought it was
1-0.
for a minute, eh?
Martinelli.
86
Had to be.
minutes.
I've got to say,
Do you know
Arsenal
what?
have
Deflected
been
goal.
good for it.
Arsenal have been brilliant.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming. As
Arsenal
well.
have been
Dude,
brilliant.
we are watching
go
I hate
back to
them.
back
They've been brilliant.
defeats for Manchester City. The title race is wide open.
No, on a serious note, yeah, as an Arsenal hater, yeah, I'm telling you right now, these guys have been phenomenal. The energy.
I could feel
that
how horrible this is.
It sucks, but I have to be real. I've not seen a team play Man City like this. They've matched them energy on the pitch. They've been incredible. This has been a really good performance. Martinelli coming on. I said it. I said Martinelli will be the guy that will change this game.
Yeah.
It's a
City have
Pat
looked
yourself on the back,
toothless.
KG. You said it.
City have looked absolutely
They just
toothless.
can't. They have not put Haaland in
Let's
the
be
game
real. Let's be real
whatsoever.
here, guys.
I hate
We
it.
said at the start of the game, oh, that Man City midfield looks the weakest we've seen it look in a long, long time. And we thought, because of the greatness of Pep, it might not matter. It fucking did.
Yeah.
Shit,
It did.
man.
Big time.
But look at the changes. Tomiyasu, that's Partey. Tomiyasu. No,
I said at the start of the
That
season,
is a
by the way.
massive deflection,
And
though.
I'm hardly, Nostradamus over here. But I did say at the start of the season,
Look.
you need to be right on Man City's arse if they do slip. And when they got that injury to De Bruyne, we all thought could be a problem. They managed to win a few games after that. We have all said in previous games recently, Erling Haaland isn't in the game as much as what he used to be. He's not getting the service. He's being starved of service. And this De Bruyne thing is impacting it. And we questioned at the start of this game, would Phil Foden or someone like him step up and be that guy? Well, they haven't.
Can I just say as well, it's Rodri is missing from this game. We saw a graphic before the game started that they had 2.4 points per game with him and 1.9 without him. You've seen the impact that he's
Mate,
missing out on that team.
Should have got Sean Longstaff in the summer. They'd known what was good for them.
When you're looking at a midfield of what Kovacic and
I hate these lot so
it's
much.
just nothing
Yeah.
compared to Rodri. They don't have a like-for-like replacement for that guy. They really just don't.
Oh my
so
God,
they really miss
Foden.
out.
Good from Foden.
Phil Foden.
We're not playing
Nope.
him.
Ref!
Kick him.
So he didn't get kicked down. I'm so confused.
No, I think that was a tackle, to be fair, but I think he played for it as well.
Arsenal still need another 2 goals if they want to go
Yeah,
above
it's
Tottenham.
88th minute and they
Above
need 2
Tottenham
more
in the,
goals.
Tottenham in the table.
I'm fuming, man. I wanted to.
Oh, dirty
Doku is
bastard.
so good.
Oh my God.
After this weekend, I wanted to be the only undefeated team in the league, and these pricks are still here.
North
This
London are absolutely
this
running
is
the Premier
really
League, though, aren't they?
impressive. This is really impressive.
Oh, what? It was.
You have to be real,
It was
bro.
a good performance. It
They're
was, you said they were phenomenal. They weren't phenomenal. Like
so
what
what have
are we
you
talking
seen
about?
from this game? What have you seen?
It was
from
it was a pretty even game up until that goal. You can't say anyone really dominated
Do you
anyone.
know what City did to teams though?
Yes,
Yeah,
but,
to match City
But,
is hard.
but we're talking about this game, and in this game, no one was clear. Like if it ended a draw, no one would bat an eyelid, like and say it wasn't.
No,
a fair
I'm
result.
saying that they've been better in the second.
Nullifying a team is something that will
Is-
often go unnoticed.
Yeah, so all they've been better at
nullifying
is
a
the
team.
press. That's it.
Well,
That's
you know,
just the press.
I think in relation to the
gotta
midfield
be
battle,
right.
which I
You
think
gotta
has
be
been a
fair.
key, is a key to this, is Declan Rice for me.
He's been
has
in point.
It's been a huge
And
difference.
Erdegaard has been wicked.
And the
Yeah,
funny
no, like,
thing was,
it's been a
is one of the
generational
reasons that
performance.
City didn't sign Declan Rice is they couldn't
he's been
justify
good.
it
He's been good.
because they were like, ultimately, Rodri is going to be starting. But in this game, without Rodri, Declan Rice has been.
Bro,
that
they got a
difference
slice
maker.
of luck, man. Like it was 0-0. It looked like a stalemate, and then
You
Ake
can't
scores
be-
her own goal.
But arguably, Kovacic should have been sent off and they
Don't
should be
be a
playing
hater.
for 45 minutes
Arguably,
with 10 men.
Arguably,
Sour grape.
They should
sometimes.
bring
Can't
her.
be a hater, man.
arguably, I am hating, but
can't be a
yeah, I can because we're rivals. I'll hate.
I see it. I hate them as well,
Oh,
but
hey.
I've got to call it out when you see it.
I'm
No,
just
but you're
delighted we've got a
glazing
fucking
right
title
now.
Because
race.
it's good.
You're
I was scared we
glazing.
wouldn't have
Because
that.
they
I
done
was scared
play
City would
better
just
than
run
them.
away with it again.
I'm just happy that Wolves dropped points.
It's a joke, man. They've had bare luck this season, bro. That Declan Rice last minute one against you deflection.
Yeah.
Bare deflected last minute goal.
Come on, though. We did need this. As Brian says, we need a title race. We need the Premier
Yeah.
League to be
I didn't
exciting.
want
It
this.
can't be a Farmers League anymore. we need
yeah, that's
something
fine.
that
I'm a
happen.
Spurs fan. I don't want to see Arsenal win a title ever again.
Aye.
0-3
Well,
and
mate,
that's
you're
it.
top of the league, so you
Ever.
got
On a
to win
serious
it.
note, yeah.
You got to win it now.
So
We-
they're
we ain't gonna win it, so-
guys, on a serious note, so Arsenal are serious title contenders. Then serious,
Even
Now-
with Havertz. You know what I mean?
Why?
He looked
They beat
shite
City.
in this game as well. Even on a crowning moment where
Yeah,
you're
Etihad,
like,
they'll pack
what a
him in,
team,
don't worry.
he still looks shite. Just seen him give the ball away there, and I was like, fuck.
Can't
me,
believe
just
there's no
relentless,
Saka and
aren't
they've
they?
won this game. It's a joke. Haaland, you've done nothing
Roma are winning 4-0, so Jose is keeping his job by the looks of it for now.
for now.
I would
Okay,
love
we'll
a-
have Lee Carsley.
I love a last.
What's the Bayern
minute-
Munich score?
I love a last minute. Go on, give it to me.
Shall we wrap that?
3-0 Bayern Munich.
Kane score?
And Kane hasn't scored.
3 goals and my boy didn't score.
Yes.
Stinks.
Shall we wrap that chat up then? Who are we going for our England manager when Southgate leaves? Are we all saying Jose?
I'm saying Jose.
Yeah.
Even though the bookies aren't even having it. It's weird.
Yeah, 33-1. Jose Mourinho, I'll go
Give it
with.
Arteta.
Do you think if he didn't have a job right now, it would be higher, the odds? Because he's in a job.
He just doesn't fit.
Do you know
what
why?
the
Do
FA
you know
would want.
why none of them are that close at odds?
Aye.
Because we're assuming that Southgate's got this tournament, and then someone comes in, and that's why none of them are that close to odds. Because I think the bookies would go. All likeliness is, as much as we're assuming that Southgate would probably have another tournament. You wouldn't put it past him, would you? It's not.
You
a
wouldn't put it
foregone-
past
It's not a foregone conclusion that he leaves. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's why I think the bookies would give closer odds if Judgment Day was nearing, and then they'd see who was available and on the market.
I just think the easiest option, and because he has a philosophy and because he potentially makes younger players better, I think you could argue. I think that Graham Potter, he's the bookie's favourite for a reason.
I'd
think he
rather
will
have
be the one.
Allardyce back than Graham Potter. Allardyce, to be fair to him, you can say what you want, 100% record.
100% record, bro.
Best record in my
100%
lifetime as
record.
England manager.
100% record.
He's a good lad.
You can't compete with that. Oh, I'm annoyed though, man. Fuck these.
Did they give Martinelli that goal? Was it on target?
The whole
It
international.
can't. It must be an own goal, surely.
They
Was it on
got the
target?
whole
I'll tell you right
international,
now.
and this is great for.
Yeah,
Harry.
Martinelli got it.
Was it on target? Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been. Martinelli got given it on Google. So
On Google.
Oh.
You lot told me this docu kid's the man.
He's
still-
cold.
I ain't seen anything yet.
Because he's been on for 15 minutes.
He does look good.
McTominay done more in 6, mate.
Yeah, 'cause he had a
Speak with my
reason.
back.
McTominay done more in 6, mate. Oh, this is so annoying.
this puts
though.
Man City with 2 defeats, by the way, which is the same as Villa
Back to
and
back.
Brighton and West Ham.
And Arsenal
3
have-
in 4
and
games.
Arsenal have
3
zero.
defeats in 4 games. You include cup competitions.
Yeah.
So they
Gotta
won the
go.
Champions
Because
League, but
Newcastle
lost
knocked
you
us
boys,
out.
yeah.
Go.
How many times did they lose last season as well, by the way, City?
5.
Total.
I'm gonna be real.
5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real. Rodri's that big of a player for them.
Yeah.
Shows me how big of a player he is for them.
Listen, we lost 12 players, so they should be able to deal with 1 player being out. Don't want to hear that crap.
Who? No, Rodri is
Yeah,
like
they got-
Rodri and De Bruyne.
Rodri,
Two
De Bruyne,
players.
and they've had Grealish
no, but
out.
they've won
Yeah,
leagues
nah.
without De Bruyne playing bare times before. Like,
Yeah, but
being
not
injured.
Rodri as well.
No, but I'm
Rodri-
saying in this team right now, you can very much see Rodri and De Bruyne ain't there, and also to an extent, maybe Grealish.
Oh,
They
well.
got a bit more depth there. But I do think
we
none
got
of us can
none
sit here.
of us.
As much as we're saying Arsenal have been good, none of us can sit here and say it's not clearly obvious that this Man City team are weakened by their absentees.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but you can't use that
We don't
excuse
get
when
to have that
every
excuse.
other, when every
We
other
don't.
squad, like
We-
we've got so many injuries. United have so many injuries.
We don't have.
What is he doing?
he's wasting time.
It's wasting time.
Fucking hell.
Game over, man. I can't believe Arsenal ran out with these points.
That's quality. They don't want.
Another clean
pissed
sheet
off.
for Raya. Great goal.
Shit,
Yeah.
clean sheet against City.
Yep.
Fucking
Well,
hell.
we're still top of the league, so
How much cheaper was he
It's
than
about
Onana?
time someone
Half
knocked
the
Man
price?
City
10
off their
million.
pedestal, mate. I don't like it. A team coming in and thinking they can just buy the league all of a sudden. It's not morally, right.
us and Arsenal are literally like 6 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses, 10 goal difference,
Oh, I
20
hate
points.
you lot, man.
Like
Fuck.
it's literally the exact same.
Congratulations,
Oh, wow.
Arsenal.
Full time and
Great.
Arteta has beaten Pep Guardiola.
That's a great result.
Look at the smile. Look at him. Look at him.
That's a great result.
Yeah.
Apprentice
This
beats
blows
the
it-
master.
When you contextualize it and do say like 3 defeats in 4 games for City, I wonder how long it's been since we've seen that. And of course, no De Bruyne, no Rodri.
Pep out.
Are we like? I know we're having a bit of a laugh and a bit of a moment. We're hoping for a title race to break out here. We're hoping that we don't see complete and utter domination. Are we seeing that now? Do you think this is the beginning of something exciting here?
I just hate that it's Arsenal, man. Fuck's sake.
Stop being biased. Come on.
I know, but they are doing well. Like it sucks.
I'm just going to read the actual the league table just to give you
I
more
do.
information.
I do think the title race is wide open now. You look at the teams that are up there. Liverpool are playing very, very well. Obviously, didn't get a great result today, but they're still performing above expectations. Spurs are looking
get behind
very, very
Spurs.
good, and they're getting the results. You've got to say they're right up
I've
there.
got to get behind
Well,
Spurs.
look, Spurs are
City,
first on
Arsenal.
20 points, Arsenal 20, Man City 18, Liverpool 17. Like, it is so close up there. I think teams right now need to capitalise big time on the fact that
Jesus.
there's no Rodri and no De Bruyne for as long as we can.
I think going on the start of the season, we've got a distinct possibility that maybe for once we get a title race that goes, maybe not down to the final day, but down towards the end of the season where there's actually 3 teams possibly in it to win it. Because that's been a long time since we've had that. Like even Chelsea under Tuchel and stuff like that, they were there or thereabouts. They were never quite there. We had a little time last season when we were thinking, Man United in it. And this season, I do genuinely think that you're going to be looking at City, Arsenal and Liverpool all there or thereabouts, and then you throw into the mix Spurs and maybe a surprise team. I'm not saying there'll be 5 going into it, but there's definitely a title race on. And do you know what? Man City always start fast, don't they? They always start slow. They always start slow to the season and then go through the gears and go through it. And when they started fast this season and were beating teams and putting teams to the sword, I was sort of thinking maybe it could be the opposite.
That's
Maybe
why
it could work
teams
the other
need to
way.
be on it now. Like you have to know, you have to maximise everything out of this and go, while there's no Rodri and De Bruyne, like teams playing City shouldn't be afraid as they normally are. We all should be trying to attack them and give them more of a game and show them just a little bit less respect, not ridiculously, but if you're ever going to beat City, now's the fucking time. They've lost 3 and 4 matches. That's unheard of under Pep Guardiola.
Also, just on side note as well, Arsenal beat them in the Charity Shield,
What's going on?
and now this.
Haaland,
Haaland looked
I
pissed
seen
anyway.
Haaland use the word motherfucker
Haaland got pissed anyway from the beginning.
Head's gone. Who's he talking to?
I don't
He got
know.
marshalled well though. They played. You know, sometimes this is all City need you.
Oh,
man.
Kyle Walker's giving it the big one.
To
He'll be
who?
having his
Who are
cock
they
out in a
talking?
minute.
Yes.
Can we also just talk quickly
good,
about
yes.
Man City's fixtures they got coming up?
Yep.
They've got Brighton, United, Bournemouth, which is not as difficult, Chelsea, Liverpool, Leipzig, Spurs, Villa.
That's pretty tough.
That's
going,
a tough
you know?
run.
Yeah, because they haven't
That's
had
a
a
tough
tough
run.
run before.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find out more about what level they're really on without De Bruyne, etc. When we see them tested, because even against Newcastle earlier this season, they didn't look the normal Man City. We were just not playing at our level either. So
That's impressive.
I didn't look at them and go, "This is like peak Man City right now." And I don't think they've looked like that this season. They've just had way too much for the Burnleys and the like. You know what I mean?
Just to give Thingy, he's gonna hate it. But just to give these lot credit, yeah, what they bought off the bench was quite impressive. They bought on Martinelli, they bought on Tomiyasu, Kai Havertz gets involved, but like they had some strength and depth.
Yeah.
They put some players on and it changed the game a bit. Like they went up another level and they just suffocated City.
They've got a lot of injuries as well, Saka didn't play, arguably their best player. Timber, who was their big signing, again, is out for a long term as
They
well.
started Jorginho.
They started Jorginho.
But that's the star man right there though.
Look how full that stadium
Bloody
still is
hell.
as well. There's a real genuine belief this season
star,
amongst
man.
the
Do you
Arsenal
think we
fans.
could be seeing a kind of what happened at Liverpool, where they pushed Man City all the way, City clinched it, and then the next season they were like, okay, we've learned what it takes, now we're going to go and put it on.
The thing that I always think, and it was what me and you were talking about earlier with the Newcastle game, is the emotional come down. There's normally like an emotional come down sometimes when you go to them heights and being able to then go again next season.
Yeah.
But actually, we saw Liverpool do it in the past, and I think you're right. I think maybe this season we are seeing Arsenal go on to do that.
It's a weird one as well because for me, other than this game, Arsenal haven't really looked as good as last season so far this season, especially at home. Mm-hmm. This game, they stepped it up. I wouldn't go as far as KG on terms of the performance, but to play Man City, make sure they don't score and press the way they did, and then eventually win the game. I think, I'm worried. I'm actually worried.
If you think about the substitutes today, Craig, I mean, just to be clear, Kovacic and Lewis started in centre midfield. And
That wasn't good. That's not good enough.
It's not good enough for a backup for Rodri. But when you look at who they brought on in Nunez, Doku, and Stones, we're quite impressed by Doku. But like Stones and Nunez, it's not like wow, this is going to change the game. Whereas with Arsenal, all right, we all have a pop at Havertz, but Havertz came on, Tomiyasu, Martinelli, Partey. You'd actually go, Arsenal had the better subs.
Solid, that's what I'm saying.
Like that's the first time in a long time where City bring on subs that aren't as good as the opposition. Like I don't know if I can ever remember that.
But there were other subs that he didn't use, like Grealish didn't even touch the field, which was weird.
Well, I mean, I can only assume he might have an injury.
He's
or
coming
something.
back from an injury.
Right, okay. But obviously Calvin Phillips wasn't. But aside from that, even there's not a lot of City subs where you're like, this is going to come on and tear it up. Aside from Grealish, so maybe there is more vulnerabilities without De Bruyne and Rodri.
I think this is one of the first seasons that you look at City and you go, their depth of squad isn't there as much.
But I said that. I remember saying that in the summer, and I went, "You've let Gundogan go, and you've let
I remember you said one of the things.
Mahrez
go, Gundogan and Mahrez," and I said, "And you have not replaced them with clutch players." Today is the best example so far where you go, Gundogan and Mahrez are exactly the type of players who come on and change that or stop you from going that goal down or play in this game even from the start. Gundogan would have done. And what they have isn't as good as that. I said that.
The other day I was actually looking at squad sizes for the Premier League teams. I was looking, Man United had about 31 players in there. Chelsea had obviously 32, 33. City had 24 players. And that's by modern day Premier League standard. That's a small squad.
But
and then when you look...
Pep wants that. Pep has actively said, I want a small squad. I want players that want to be here, and I want to build that like togetherness there. And he's made a conscious choice. So that's his fault. It's not like the board are going, oh, we're not going to sign players. They can sign players.
I think we all know that.
They can bloody sign players.
But let's have some parliamentary proceedings right now and remember that we are talking about Man City that like a little bit of a challenge for themselves. It's you lot are doing your thing.
Do you not think that might be getting cocky though? Like if you think about it, how many titles have they won in a row? 3 in a row. And 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
You do things, and we even seen Sir Alex Ferguson do things like letting Yap Stam go in the peak of their powers, where sometimes you go, you're getting a bit too overconfident here.
Yeah.
And let's not act like Arsenal didn't push them to the wire last season, because aside from the last few games, it was close. I don't know. I thought at the start of the season, this might be the best chance we get in a while because of letting Gundogan and Mahrez go. And it's not that I don't... I think Doku might be the type of player Mahrez is in terms of output, but he's not there yet, right? Like... It's a lot to ask of him.
We're talking about the engine of the midfield as well not being there, but in terms of what I saw from them today, I thought they lacked a bit of creativity. I didn't think they was massively creative, Man City.
Barely was in the game, right?
He wasn't.
I'm just going to say it could have done with Cole Palmer in there. No, but they could have seriously done with a couple of players that were more creative, and maybe having De Bruyne and maybe having Rodri back in there allows the other players to take on less of that responsibility and then be more creative. But I didn't see him create anything massively clear-cut
I think
today.
Arsenal wanted it more, though. Honestly, that was where it came down to. There was a team fighting, and they went up another level. We went here, and when they changed it in the second half, they went up another gear that we couldn't live with.
I wouldn't have taken Julian Alvarez off when he did.
No.
He's been good.
You need a goal. It's 0-0. Why would you do that? That's one less
Phil
threat.
Foden did very little.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing also, though? So, Craig, when you're watching that, and you're thinking Tottenham towards the end of that match with Arsenal looked the more likely team to go on and win it, whatever you think of it, 2-2 draw, and then you've just seen what Arsenal have done to the champions. Does that not give you a bit of weight to think, okay, we're going to be right up there or thereabouts?
He's never going to say it.
No,
He's never going to say it. But he
Just
should say it.
He should say
Why
it.
should I say it after
Why
8
not?
games? Because it's 8 games.
Chelsea have
tell
just
you
won
why.
2
Come on,
games
you
in a
want me
row.
to
I'm
that
saying
guy
right.
after 8 games?
Because the stats say that after 8 games in the season, at
Tell
the
him
same
again.
points Spurs have, 11 out of 28 teams in that position have won the title.
pause.
Yes.
Do you know why you're not going to draw
We need
me
to
out?
listen
Let
to
me
those
explain
stats.
to me. Let me explain
11.
to you
We
why
need
you're
to
not
listen
going
to
to
those
draw me out.
stats.
I'm a grown man. This is why you're not going to draw me out, yeah? Just a couple weeks ago, everyone said Man City are a juggernaut. They're running. They lose 2 games on the spin, and now look. Now everyone's saying, oh, Arsenal and Liverpool, and now
What does
Tottenham have
this have
got
to do with Spurs?
Because Tottenham could lose their next 2 games. And then
you're
you're going to
saying-
be like, oh, you said you were
you're
title
saying-
contenders. You're not drawing me out.
So you're saying you
if
don't
we
want to talk about
get
the
to
title?
Christmas and Tottenham are still right up there,
Bro, you're unbeaten.
then we can have that conversation.
unbeaten.
I know we're the
We're
best
gonna
in the
get
league
The
right
same
now.
guy who was breakdancing on this table about a week ago.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
unbeaten, bro.
Listen, we're the best in the league right now.
That's
But
right.
there's a long way to go, man. There's 30 games left. 30 games.
When you crop the bit where he says right now, just best in the league.
Yeah.
Pump that bit out.
do that. My people that have been watching live know the truth.
Are we in agreement that this is possibly the best chance we're going to get? Better than the last 5 years, arguably outside of the Liverpool.
No,
So
see you're going to win the league. See you're going to win the league.
Do you know what? I to go against everything we've been saying there, we're backing that on the thinking that Man City have maybe underperformed a little bit of recent. But actually, I don't know if it's the best chance, because even what we're saying about Arsenal so far, that was brilliant what they've done there. But they haven't set the world on fire just yet. And we've seen an absolutely phenomenal Liverpool side that in any other season over the last 20 years would have won the league, still fall short to Man City. So purely on that, I would say
And
that
what's
maybe
the
this
reason?
is...
Joey, what's the
saying it
reason?
now. I'm honestly saying it now. Gundogan and Mahrez was a huge mistake. You should not have let them go without having guaranteed match winners in their place. And I think Pep Guardiola in January might need to go out there and
Are they going to win the league, Brian?
I think this is the best chance we're going to get.
Who's he going to sign?
You
'Cause there's a
don't
player
learn.
for about
Listen,
100 million.
You don't learn. As long as Pep Guardiola is there, he will win. You just don't learn. Write
I'm
him off.
backing Spurs.
Write him off at your own peril.
Yeah, I'm
back
backing
Do
Spurs.
it. I don't
Everyone
mind.
here
I'm
backing
backing
Spurs.
Spurs. We're all
yeah?
backing Spurs.
This is funny to me.
Come on,
because
We're back.
Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.
Nah, you're not-
Guardiola
saying
You're
that.
not getting that.
I'm not saying
Pep Guardiola is the greatest manager of all time. I don't know what it takes.
Come on, Spurs.
No one's giving him his props. He's like Drake. People hate him, but he
No, but
delivers.
he isn't infallible, and I think we're seeing that he's made a bit of a mistake this season. It doesn't mean that Man City aren't great and
They're
that
going to
he
win the
isn't
league.
great.
They'll go on a 20-game run.
I think he's underestimated what he was up against in having a small squad and losing such big match winners.
Guys, let's be honest. Pep will be fine.
Arsenal and Spurs are going to lose
They
games.
just did what in that game was
They're
a grudge
gonna lose
match.
games.
It was a grudge match. These lot were on fire. Like if that same team, that same Man City team played anybody else, they probably win. It was just you played a team that was just
I
well
don't
up.
think
for it.
they
They don't
The
really-
same Man
beat
City
us.
team played Wolves last
They don't
week
beat
and
us
lost.
at home.
Not like that.
And an even stronger
No,
Man
that-
City team played Arsenal in the Community
are you
Shield and lost.
So what you want to do?
They've lost 3 in the last 4.
Are you putting Spurs on the table? You putting
No,
them
I
off the
just
table?
you said no one else did it, but Man City haven't beaten us at home since we moved to. I'm saying they don't beat us at home. That's all all I was saying.
So what are you
see you're in
saying?
a
You reckon
title
you'll win the
race.
league?
No, I'm just saying,
say you're in a title
Arsenal
race,
are going to go to Etihad and they're going to wipe the floor with them at the Etihad.
Okay.
So it's going to be 1-1. So it's about what goes on around that and all the other games. That's my opinion. And I think Arsenal are going to lose games. And we know City are capable of putting like an 18 to 20 game run together. They're capable of that.
Really?
They're the only team that's
This
capable
begs
of
the
that.
question, Ten Hag really should have
wish
come
we
good
was-
this season.
Yeah.
This was really the chance, wasn't it? This was Ten Hag's chance this season. He's
I
fucked
wish
it.
he was involved. I hate
Also, you're forgetting that Spurs have got VAR on their side, so
Yes,
that's going to go in
I
your,
love
that's going to go
that,
in your
yeah.
favour.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap the show up there. Big love to everyone who watched. Don't forget to like the video, add, subscribe, and check out all the boys out on this table. They're always uploading. Keep an eye out. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
Peace.